So I forgot to start. I forgot to start the live stream at the right time. Uh-oh, it's in the other room. All right. Watch the intro for a little while I go mute the computer in the kitchen. Good grief. So I was late starting the live stream, so we didn't get to see the whole Google Earth thing go through because I did make a couple of modifications that was requested, one that was requested, and a couple others that I noticed where I didn't have the location where somebody was watching from. So let's see, I'll go take a look at chat and I'm going to leave that run for a little bit. I was active in chat before the show started for a while, and then I had a few last minute things to do. So I'm looking back to see if there's anything specific I need to catch up to in chat. Some other people showed up. Others than the ones that I've already said hello to in the chat. I see Jonathan Fazani and Tony Wallo's here, and I did say hello in chat. Costanza's here. Hello to you all. And the rest I think have said hello. Oh, Javi Manor and Kenny Whidden. So hello, everybody. Let's come back to camera one. I've got my setup changed a little bit here because, you know, once I get things figured out, I just got to change it again, right? That's kind of what a Doug does. I just got another doorbell in my ear, which tells me there's another person waiting in Zoom. I think I have two there now. And I've got I also, one of my last minute things is to get a cup of hot tea because my throat was feeling a little congested. But so far, I'm talking okay. I haven't spoken at all yet today. My vocal cords are been totally unused. So I'm going to go drop this tea bag off. Hang on for a moment. Oh, why not give you back to Google Earth? Let's get an AVDW check. Here's the watch going on the desk. And if you can tell me in chat if you're hearing me okay and seeing me okay and the video's coming through all right. Let's see, I've got in chat. Well, let's just go ahead and punch over to chat. It is a different button this time. Oh, this button. There we go. And that's over here on that. Well, you know what? Since I'm seeing it on my XSplit, I could read it here, even though I'm clicking over there. What else has happened here? Hello's going back and forth to people. A hand waving, I think it is, from Tony. Some hellos. Just finished a live stream broadcast in UK from DDT 2005. You know what? I recognize your name. I've seen you often enough. So here you go into the realm of moderator. And you finished the live stream. I'm going to have to go check out your channel. To do that, I've got to make myself a note. Channel DDT 2005. Seems to me that I'd already did take a look once. And just so the rest of you know, you can come over to these three dots on the side, click on that and click go to channel. That'll open the person's channel in another window, and then you can just hit pause and go watch that channel later. Meant to watch in the kitchen. Surprise, Doug, you're in Studio A, lad, say something. Meant to walk into the kitchen. Nice green paint on door cabinet. Yeah, Savi, that's the color I had those doors painted back in the days. Let's see, what do we call BBB, BBB, before Big Beast build. I had those doors. And I've also got the camera pointed different, so it's not pointing into that really bright background that's over that way towards the bathroom. Tony says DVR good and AV good, AVDW good. So that means Alex has checked the DVR. Hello, Arnold, Albert. Greetings to you too. Audio and picture good. There's a third doorbell in my ear for the Zoom session. Speedy C says hello. Josh is here. Welcome, Josh. And Natasha, is she with you? All great sound and picture. Alex says hello. Greg, hello. Doug on all in chat from St. Mary's County, Maryland, 56 degrees, U.S. Navy retired. Thank you once again, Greg, for your service. DDT actually finished someone else's stream. I leave who it was if you all want to know. And thanks for mod status. I'll use it wisely. Yeah, and I'll just repeat that, what I've said a few times. What I want for moderators is don't block people with a heavy hand. I'm very, very tolerant of people saying mean things about me or criticisms about me. Not that I'm inviting it, but I'm okay with that. But I don't tolerate the spammy websites. If somebody's trying to get you to go to some weird website, so we just block those people. And you don't even need to delete their comment. Just block the user from the channel. And only do that if you're really feeling like you understand what I'm asking for and are okay with that. Let's see, then Ken Stout, watching from the show. From the show, does that mean from his show? I'm not sure. And then Tom with $2. Oh, yeah, and Tom, by the way, thanks for reminding me. Tony did a super chat up here for $19.99. And yesterday, I got my very first Amazon gift card from a viewer, and it was from Tony. I'm assuming Tony Wallow. I don't know any other Tonys around here. A couple more doorbells in my headset. So we're also going to need to check the audio and video for the Zoom, and I'm going to bring them in pretty soon here. Let's see. Josh says she's walking around the church, referring to Natasha, his wife. Greg just got up at 100 p.m. How's your day going? Oh, that's the Ken. And hello from Ida. Hi, Ida. Good to see you here. And Jonathan saying hello to a bunch of people. So I'll highlight that as where I left off. Let's go bring some people into Zoom. Come over here to participants and admit all. Let's see. Oh, I see a new name there. Jose Alvarez, Photo Mix Media. And, oh, Michael Costanza the Mage is here. Oh, we got two new people coming in. No, wait a minute. Jose was here last week, right? Yeah, he came in. Yeah, that's right. He was here last week, right? All right, somebody's got their audio not muted yet from the YouTube. I think that just got fixed.
Sorry about that.
Is that Alex? Or Chris? Chris's frame highlighted for that.
Alex.
So let's say hello, Michael Costanza the Mage. You've been trying a few weeks to come in, I think. Good.
Yeah, I took a day off just for you, Doug.
Awesome.
Normally I'm like going to sleep because I normally work the third shift. So nice to finally meet you on Zoom, at least.
Good to meet you too. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself? What's pertinent? I don't want to pry into your privacy at all, but you mentioned your work.
Yeah, no problem. I'm also in the IT industry. I've been in IT for 7 years. Currently, I work for a help desk at a hospital, Hoag Hospital in Southern California. And I'm an enthusiast like the rest of us watching your channel. And right now I'm trying to move up and get a higher position, maybe a system administrator, network administrator. But it's difficult. A lot of rejection, but I'm going to keep trying.
All right, good for you. Let's pop over to chat and see if we got a report on audio and video. And let's see, I need to punch into the picture-in-picture and bring up the right thing, and then close down this participants window in the Zoom session. Ida Rivera comes in with $5 and calls it a late fee. Thank you, Ida. Let's see, here's the highlight from my last, what I last read. Jeff Ryman's here. Hi, Jeff. Ida, Tom, let's see. Ken, Costanza, good people. So I guess maybe you've already been participating in Zoom on Ken's channel, have you?
I have when I can. Once again, like usually his stream is on like while I'm sleeping or getting ready to go to work. So I took 2 or 3 days off for my mother's birthday, and so I figured now's as good of a time as any to join your streams.
Oh, wonderful! Thank you.
Yesterday was a record, Doug, for Ken's stream, for Ken's
really?
Zoom, not the stream, but the Zoom.
Yeah.
Because I kept it open for 13 hours.
Oh, now wait a minute. You kept it open, so Ken was not participating that whole time?
Not all the time. He would come in and leave and come in, and between Ken and everybody else that was on his Zoom yesterday, and me and Josh talk, and I kept it open for almost 14 hours.
All right.
So new record for me.
Yeah. So Javi says the sound is okay, and Zoom audio and video okay from Jonathan. So I think we're good. I know one of the important things is for me to get my audio through this headset. And that's fixed one of the problems. And I fixed another of the problems this week. Let's go to this camera and see. I've got a new tripod stand. So now the microphone's coming over the top because that microphone's sitting on the desk. Anytime I would touch the desk, it just made noises that I just did not like at all when I go back and listen to it afterwards. So back to Zoom. I got that right. Now, Jose Alvarez, you're muted. Are you? And you've got just a picture rather than a video. Are you there? Hello. Jose Alvarez, Photo Mix Media. Maybe you're working on something else and can't get to your microphone. That's okay. So I'll go ahead and pass to you. If you come back to your microphone and have a minute to chat, I'd welcome that. And Chris Garrett is here without a camera, or yeah, you just got your camera on. Hi, Chris. Good to see you too.
I'm on the laptop right now, but
All
I
right.
got it. I got it up on the desktop too, but.
All right. So let's see, you in the chat before the show. I think you were first in the chat this morning. And you mentioned that you're got a soldering iron. You're going to do some tinkering around with soldering.
Yeah, I'm going to do some stuff.
I've done that in the past. I think it was probably high school, maybe early 20s that I and probably still had my soldering iron for another decade past that before I got rid of it, but currently don't have one. I do have a heat gun for taking apart, devices that are glued together. And I bought that because my daughter wanted me to fix the camera on her smartphone, an Android smartphone. So I bought that device and I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, and I bought the parts, but we still haven't got around to letting me have her phone for a while to fix that. So the heat gun is still sealed. Haven't opened it yet.
You said she got a phone and you had to fix the camera. Was it like a Samsung Galaxy, like a really expensive phone, or like a not very expensive phone?
Well, it seems like it was the Samsung and the word Galaxy both sound familiar, but I'm hard pressed to imagine it was a very expensive phone. But the camera was broken, and of course, rather than even looking at the value of the phone, because I'm a Doug, said, well, let me fix it. All right. So we're about to get rolling into the meat of today's session. Do one more catch up here with chat. Chit chat between people. And hellos and hellos and hellos. Okay, so that gets me caught up again. Not actually reading through all of those. So what I've got here today, you know what? Probably that tripod camera is going to be better for this, isn't it? I did position it over there. We don't need it pointed up showing that microphone. So I recently set up one of these routers for a client, and I'm working with a person who is very, very familiar with network VPN setups and security. He's one of these people that actually does penetration testing and does work for authorities and such on being able to access computers. So we've got two of these for my client, setting them up as client routers from my clients to, I'm using the word client two different ways, right? You know that. One of these in his home, and one of them at his weekend home. And so he can connect seamlessly to his office using remote desktop. And it turns out that it really is working well. The client really likes it. It's faster than using LogMeIn. And these devices are so inexpensive, I thought I'd try one myself. So I bought one. This is the exact model that we're using for his remote locations. And then there was this one also, and this is the less expensive mini smart router, even smaller. And I figure this is even more attractive to be carrying around with you when you're traveling. And this technique that I'm going to explore today, or anticipate exploring today, is where we use these routers in what I call a daisy chain. I've never heard it called that, but where a LAN port from your ISP router comes to the WAN port on this device, and then you connect your computers or even your network switch to a LAN port on this device. So it gives you double NAT, right? NAT, network address translation.
Yes, correct.
Where NAT is one of the basic common functions of a router that conceals or protects your computers inside your local network from the outside internet. So you have local IP addresses in your internal network, and other homes or other offices might have the same IP address scheme inside their network, but those IP addresses never get out to the internet as that IP address. The router translates those so that your communication out to the network, out to the internet, uses the IP address of the WAN side of your router, and the destinations that you're communicating with out on the internet can't really tell which computer inside your local network is the source of the communication. So network address translation, NAT, is essentially translating the network address of your computers inside your network, translating them to a different addressing scheme that can be interacted with on the internet. Now, I just described that off the fly, without rehearsing it, without any script. Did that come across okay? Does anybody want to elaborate?
And that's also why you have to, if you do want to access your internal computers from outside, that's also why you have to port forward.
Yes, if you're not using this technique that I'm talking about with these routers. So port forwarding on your ISP router, whatever your first level router is, the one that has the WAN exposure to the internet, can have a port forwarding so that if somebody tries to connect to the IP address of that router, their communication would automatically get forwarded or port forwarded to a computer that's inside your network. And you can have multiple different ports that are forwarded to different computers on your internal network. Now that's a pretty insecure way to use remote desktop. You should not be using remote desktop that way because hackers could gain access to that. But with these routers, what we do is create a dedicated path from the office router to this VPN client router in the remote network. And that causes the computers at my client, I keep using the word client two different ways. At the end user's home or a remote office, it creates a constant connection so that you could actually ping an internal IP address of the office from your home and get a ping result. It creates a permanent always on connection.
So it does like a client-to-client VPN, basically site-to-site VPN connection?
Site-to-site VPN connection that just stays up 100% of the time.
I have a question, Doug.
Yes.
What made you decide to use these particular routers instead of using something like if your client had a couple of old computers laying around, like Dell Optiplex computers laying around, you could have installed like something like PFSense, or OpenSense on the desktop and on the desktop computer, and put another network card in there and use that another computer laying around as his firewall for the VPN connection.
That could be done. There's a number of disadvantages with it. This device I put the price of it in the thumbnail. I think it was like $80 some. Very inexpensive. It uses a very standardized open VPN. It's open source, and it has lots of support.
That's what we had set up, but I had set up at college. I had set up the network administrator had set up the PFSense on one of those Dell Optiplexes, just because they had the network cards and computers already laying around, so we didn't have to purchase anything else.
And that's a really great learning experience or way to help teach and learn and experiment with how these networking elements work. This device is so small and unobtrusive, and it can be put anywhere. And one of the things you can do with it is travel with it. So you go to a hotel. If you're in a hotel room that has an Ethernet connection, you can plug that into the WAN port. This device will automatically pick up an IP address from the DHCP that is in the hotel, handing out addresses. And now your computer connects to this device, and it can connect either by Wi-Fi or by Ethernet. And this device is providing an extra layer of protection. Well, probably the only layer of protection from the hotel, because a hotel or any public internet is very insecure. You don't know what's going on in that network.
I didn't use a VPN. I don't use a VPN when I go to a hotel, but I do have a couple of travel routers myself that are a whole lot older than the ones you got, but they still work. So I can, if a hotel's got a Ethernet, I plug into that and set up my own Wi-Fi with a password on it.
I have a question.
Yes. Okay.
Does it require a dynamic DNS service? Because I set up my own VPN with Raspberry Pi, and with that you need like dynamic DNS. If you're using a home router, because obviously that's not static. So I was just curious, do you need like a dynamic DNS for those routers?
Yes, you would.
Well, I don't think. No, not in my experience. I'm not sure what you're thinking, Alex. but let me respond a little bit first. In the setup that we did at my client's home and his weekend home, we're using the DNS of the server that's in his office, and we can enter into a field whatever DNS service that we want to use. I'm not totally certain that I'm understood. When you say dynamic DNS, it's just, is that
Does
just
his
referring
office
to,
have a static IP address?
say again?
So,
Does his
Alan?
office have a static IP address?
Yeah, his office has a static IP address.
Well, then we would not need to use dynamic DNS, because dynamic DNS is only for if you have a dynamic IP address like everybody does at their house.
Oh, yes. Okay, I understand now. So like here at my house, I don't have a static IP address. I have Comcast internet service. So if I wanted to VPN into my home here from some other location, then I could use dynamic DNS in order so that I could always gain access to my house, even if its public IP address has changed. Right?
right.
Right.
Yeah, okay, I'm remembering that now. But see, I'm not having to use that currently anywhere among my clients. So
I was a little confused there for a minute, because the school also had the college also had they assigned us a static IP address, so I was able to set up everything and didn't have to worry
Okay.
about it if the firewall ever got rebooted.
all right, let's go take a look at chat. Let's see, there's Shavi with a question. Come back up here. So here's my last piece. I don't see anything else in orange. I'm going to skip over that. If you want to catch my attention in chat, please hit me up in orange. And that's just by typing in the chat line @LI, and by that point it should pop up my full channel name there to click on. So Shavi, does this require fixed IP in the side from the office? Oh, fixed IP, yeah, static IP. In order now these routers could be used for many different purposes. It is not the case that their only purpose is to function for VPNing into an office. But yes, for these to work in the way that we want them to work, we wanted to have a static public IP address. When you go into a browser and type, "What is my IP?" When you type, "What is my IP?" that's going to tell you what your public IP address is. Now, I don't think that'll tell you that you have a static public IP. You could have a dynamic public IP. Dynamic means your internet service provider assigns you that IP address, and it can change from time to time. For the purpose that we wanted, yes, we wanted to have a static IP address. If we didn't have a static IP address, we could use this dynamic DNS. And I do remember now that was part of our conversation with the other tech who is working with me with this particular client. Now, this other tech, he's on a level that I have never had a conversation with such a person before. Like I said, government entities hire him for very complex things, and I don't want to go into much detail about that because he's kind of private about that. So that answers Javi's question, I believe. Uganda Knuckles says, "I need help connecting my monitor." Uganda, we'd be happy to help you with that. If you want to give us some more information about it, since I don't really know you, another option is you could send me an email and I'll do a one-on-one session with you and then publish it to my channel later. And we need to do that with Zoom. You need to have your camera turned on so I can get to know you and see what how we can help you with. Let's see. That's chit chat. Normally, dynamic IP address will change if you disconnect the modem for 24 hours. That kind of makes sense. Aljaz.
I probably got a unique situation, but before the last time my router rebooted, my router was on for 100 days, for over 100 days, actually, like 150 days. something like that. And for that whole time frame, I had the same public IP address. But the second I rebooted, the power went off, even though it went off for only a minute and came back on, when it rebooted, it got a new public IP address. So in my situation, they don't leave public IP addresses. It'll stay the same one until the modem reboots, and then I'll get a new one.
I think that's a pretty common thing, although I think if you reboot your modem before some number of days, you may wind up with the same IP address. And the other comment that we've seen in chat here about leaving it off for 24 hours, that might be a way to kind of force a new address. And I think in the router, you can probably, seems like I've seen some kind of an option to refresh the WAN connection in order to get a new address. Gary here says TeamViewer is an example of DDNS. Well, yeah, that because when you have TeamViewer in a host mode on a computer, the public IP address of that computer, it changes from time to time. So TeamViewer needs to be able to connect to it. Now, I couldn't say that DDNS is the technology that they use to do that. I would think that TeamViewer could be using a persistent connection of some sort between the host TeamViewer computer and TeamViewer's central computers that might be other than DDNS. I don't know. V says dynamic IP is more secure than static IP. That would be that I think would be a good statement, a valid statement, in the sense of once a hacker discovers what your public IP address is, there's going to be a limited amount of time that they're going to be able to use that public IP address.
It's not whether they discover what your public IP address is, because that's public knowledge. It's more about how you got your firewall configured, what ports you have open, things like that. Because when you set up a VPN, you've only got to have one port open, and you can connect to all the services, the RDP and all the other services that you need, instead of having to open up an individual port for every service, like remote desktop.
Okay, so what you're going to there is, if in a configuration where you are trying to use remote desktop from another location, you definitely want to use a static IP address, and you have more configuration capabilities with a router when you have a static IP address. Now, as I say that, I'm saying the other Dougs are arguing over here. No, but what about? But okay. So give me a little bit of grain of salt there. I would be reluctant to say that my client who currently has a static IP should change to a dynamic IP in order to be more secure, because that means his remote locations, we're going to have to reconfigure those in order to reestablish a connection anytime his office's IP address gets changed. Now, we don't want to do that.
What I meant is, when you're using a VPN, you've only got to have one port. He's only got to have one port open on the office firewall, office router for his VPN. He doesn't have to have the port open for the VPN and the remote desktop, because once he connects to the port on the VPN, everything else is accessible.
But that's exactly how I have mine set up. So yeah.
Yeah, you're focusing your comment there, Alex, on the case of VPN. Zavid Manor's question here didn't specify, in the scenario of VPN, is dynamic IP more secure? If you have an environment like a normal home user, nobody has gone in to do any configuration work on the router, I could make the case for dynamic is more secure than static. If they're not using static for a purpose, then I could see that argument, but that's not something that really comes up much in conversations. Can you buy that, Alex?
Yes, I understand what you're saying.
Thank you. All right, let's see, Matthew. You can also use the switch flush DNS, I believe, in command prompt windows, and also release and renew switches in IP config. ipconfig new release flush DNS, believe that's what the switches are. Well, ipconfig, that's only going to be controlling the IP address of the workstation that you're at. I don't think that's going to have an effect on the router or your public exposure.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Let's turn off the picture here for a moment and get down here from Alej. Someday I'm going to learn how to pronounce your name right. DHCP normally release IP address in 24 hours. It can change after you reboot modem. If your ISP's DHCP server is set up different, or ISP don't use DHP, they use PPOE. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. All I'm going to say is that I've had lots of times where I've restarted routers that have been up for much longer than 24 hours and wind up getting the same WAN address. I can't say that I've tested that a lot, so yeah, I'm not sure. And not
same here. When I want to reset the IP, it never happens, and then when I don't, it does for whatever reason.
There you go. Blackwatch. Oh boy, should you turn right? And I left, and we both arrived at our mutual destination almost at the same time. Doesn't matter how we got there.
And one thing, just so that everybody knows, everybody can, even residential customers can have a public IP address, can have a static IP address. It's just a matter of, do you want to pay for it? Like my ISP, I called them one time and asked them what it cost for me to get a static IP, and they said $20.
Yeah, and it's not a huge cost. Now, was that a $20 one time or $20 per month?
$20 per month.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I've in a business environment, I've seen it around that per month, and that's not a big cost factor when you're improving people's capability to work. My first static public IP address was when I got an ISDN line brought into my house. So that was for high-speed internet, what we called high-speed internet, but that was back in the days where most everybody was dial-up internet. There was no broadband service. That was before smartphones. I'm going to say that was 1994, 93, somewhere around there. Stop that phone. That was somebody in the channel sending me an email. So without bringing up my email on screen, I'm going to switch over here to another screen and see what's up. I want to do it this way. No, I want to do it on this one. Go look at this. Okay. Oh, all right. Yeah, a little misunderstanding that I'm being alerted of there. My comment earlier about insisting on the camera would be on for the person who is talking about their monitor problem. That's for people that I don't know. There are a few people that I do know that are regular on this channel and been into our Zoom sessions before that don't turn their cameras on. You're welcome to come in and not have your camera on because your audio participation has been very valuable. So for those people, and you know who you are, that have been participating with their cameras off, don't feel any hesitation about that at all. Please come in. And just when I'm asking people to turn, here's got a new. Oh, I haven't disabled the waiting room. All right, here, this is Gary coming in, and Gary's actually one of those who doesn't turn their computers on. Totally welcome, but you have reminded me, Gary, to go turn off the waiting room so that anyone else can just come in. Hello, Gary.
Hello, Doug. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you. Good to see you. And I don't get to see your dog, huh?
Later. Might even see the real one.
Your dog's welcome too. What did you just comment about your dog?
He's actually dog hospital.
Oh, sorry to know that. Sorry to hear that.
I do have a joke. It's more expensive than a people hospital.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
One last computer statement. They want to do his teeth, which has nothing to do while he's there. To get 2 teeth pulled and a cleaning, they want over $1,000.
Wow, that's more than a person's getting a cleaning. Yeah.
I said I'll do it for that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, my only pets are houseplants. And I'm not real. Go ahead.
I was gonna say they don't talk back though.
Yeah, they don't talk back. They do bring emotional trauma into my life when I either have overwatered them or underwatered them. And I never would have got houseplants on my own, but I have a trade relationship, a barter relationship with a woman who has a business supplying live plants to businesses. So we worked out an arrangement where she provides me plants, and I do her computer work for very low cost. And that has been going on for a long, long time back. Let's see, about 12 years ago, I called her and said, hey, one of these plants doesn't look good. Can you come over and check it out? She comes over. He looks at me and says, Doug, that plant's probably been dead for months. So
But you kept
let's
watering
see.
it.
Say again?
I said, but you kept watering it.
Yeah, of course I did. That's a thing a good person does. Oh, I didn't mean to click over into my emails. There's
Catherine,
nothing really
hello.
big deal there. Catherine's
Hello.
here. Hi, Catherine.
Hello. Hi, Doug. Hello, everyone.
Hey, Catherine.
Hello,
So-
Captain.
Hello, Alex.
And Catherine and Gary meet Michael
Hello.
Haley, otherwise known as Costanza the Mage.
We've all met on Ken's channel. They know me.
Oh, you've met. All right.
Yeah.
And
Thanks,
we
Doug.
did-
Thanks for the introduction.
Yeah, we did clarify that Costanza the Mage is the right pronunciation, right?
Doug, you need to start doing Zooms more than just one day a week for 2 hours. Because we're on all the time.
That's correct. Correct pronunciation. Yeah.
That's correct. Or the alternative, participating in Ken's Zooms more often or watching the videos. Of course, the videos don't contain all of Ken's Zoom session. He runs a live stream for a couple hours, and then the Zoom session may continue past that, or it may have been going on before he even started the live stream.
Yeah, I have to ask him what is the 2-hour limit thing? Is it some sort of algorithm or reason he stops at 2 hours? I don't know.
I don't
I
know.
think he just thinks that 2 hours is a good stopping place. So he just shoots for 2 hours for no other reason, really.
I think it has to do with age. It does with me.
Age? How does 2 hours have anything to do with age?
When you hit 60, which I am and Ken is, that's when you get tired of doing this all night.
Yeah. Well, hey, now I'm older than that, right?
And you stop at 2 or 3 hours. See?
Well, actually, I'm headed off to bed by the time Ken starts. So yeah, no. Let's go catch up in chat here. Let's see, we got a few things coming up. That's the last one that I read. No, that one is. And then here's Chris has a static IP, never changed. I never asked for it and not being charged for it. Oh, that's interesting. He has a static IP address. How do you know it's a static IP address, Chris?
It should show up in your router.
Yeah, okay, how your router is configured. If your router is configured for a static IP address, that you have typed it in. Yeah. If your router is configured for a dynamic address, then it's not static. So that's interesting. So then let's
Doc?
turn this. Yes, Catherine.
Maybe he changed the settings in the router and in Windows. Then he knows.
Right. He did. Yeah, if he actually put in the static IP address himself in the router, that's how he knows. Yeah.
Yes, then he knows. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. I didn't think it through before asking the question. What was the speed of the ISDN? Oh gosh.
112.
Say again.
112.
112 what?
IMBS.
Megabits per second.
ISDN, yes, ISDN.
Yeah.
Yep.
It seems to me that there was a half ISDN available for 64 megabits per second.
There was.
Yeah.
You get 12 and wrap them all together and have a T1. You enjoy yourself for thousands of millions of dollars.
12 of the 124 bits would be a T1.
Yep.
Yeah. I had clients with T1 back in the day, or even fractional T1.
I thought a T1 was only 1.5 megabits per second.
That's what it is, basically. Well,
you're
right. We said megabits. I apologize. It was kilobits. My mistake.
ISDN was 64 kilobits per second for half, or 124 kilobits per second. That's kilobits, not kilobytes.
Yeah, that's one of the things that annoys me when other people that don't know all this stuff that I know talk about this stuff, because they always say megabytes and not megabits. Megabytes is only when you're transferring files. Megabits is when you're looking at your internet speed.
Yeah. I've seen some. I think I've seen some other variations on it, and bits. Basically, there's 8 bits per byte.
Alex,
go ahead, Catherine.
Don't expect too much of non-technical people. Yes?
I don't.
Because if you're a NASCAR mechanic, yes, you cannot go to your neighbor, Mrs. Gray, and talk to her about her car. Yes, because she doesn't know. She puts a key in and turns it. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
I've learned not to expect too much.
And that's job security. You don't want everyone to know everything, otherwise you can't get into IT, Alex, like you're trying to.
Yeah. Back in the day, I wrote some of the first big three with EDI protocols through modems, 1 byte at a time. That was fun.
Wait a minute. What? Say that again.
You got a computer. I got a computer. I send you data back and forth in a format we decide it's going to be on, so I can bill you, or I can tell you that you're getting your 50,000 parts in an hour.
Wow. Okay.
And that's how all shipment was done to, let's say, Ford Motor Company. And it's still done that way, except now it's on the internet. We used to use bands, value-added networks. And to separate each character, let's say quantity ordered, quantity shipped, we had to put a little asterisk between each character's set.
Wow. All right. Let me move on here in chat and get caught up again. Ida had one of those lines work great at the time, so she had ISDN as well. Next, orange from Zvi. When Gary and Blackwatch will show, when will Gary and Blackwatch will show their face in public? They might surprise us someday. I'm not going to make one assumption either way. And then here we got Blackwatch. How much potpourri do you got? Maybe he's willing to take potpourri as a payment for turning his camera on. But I think really what he's referring to there is my house plants. Did I call them house plants or potted plants? I don't know. Photomix Media, be right back. I'm fine-tuning my gear for my camera ready on your meeting, sir. Oh, awesome. Photofix Media. Yeah, he was in for a little while, and I guess he's going to come back in with the camera on. Great. Going to the next orange. Oh, let's see. This is Chris. Yeah, saying the 56K. You never really got it. You were below that. Well, we never really do get what we're told we're paying for. It's the AT&T modem router combo. AT&T set it up for Chris. That's with, so AT&T set up his static IP address. That's surprising that AT&T would just routinely be using a static IP address. And I assume this means that he's gone into the router setup and verified that it is showing a static IP address configuration. Max speed of ISDN is 128 kilobits per second. And I had, I think I previously referred to 124, probably incorrectly, because it's basically 64 times 2, because everything is based on the base 2 numbering system. So 128 is a multiple of, is a power of 2, but 124 is not. Chris, want a local ISP like I had a in-house dial-up server. I often wonder what the speed to the server was and if their office computers had that speed. On a local ISP like I had I in the in-house dial-up server, okay, when the ISP had an in-house dial-up server, I often wonder what the speed of the server was and if their office computers had that speed. So like there was back in the day with dial-up modems, you would dial into your service provider. And so he's referring to what speed their office computers had. If I understood that right.
They had an in-house server, and I just wondered what the speed was going to that server. They had they had a lot of phone lines going to it.
Actually, usually what they had was modem banks. And the modem banks were either K-Flex until they got the standard, were Hayes compatible, and X2 for USR compatible.
Okay,
so,
so
you're
you're saying those service providers had a bank of modems to provide enough coverage for the services they were providing to their customers.
Basically like we're doing today with Ethernet connections.
Yeah.
They would have 10 modems, and it looked like an XT box, and they'd actually go in there.
Now,
yeah, they were always adding lines.
Yep.
Yeah,
and actually, depending upon where you are, what most of the ISPs and the local ISPs did is they literally got a cell phone and they forward the cell phone to a modem bank. So let's say where I'm at, there's 3 counties that are important, and you would have one would be 248 would be the extension, or excuse me, the area code, and then you call into that modem, it would come to wherever the ISP actually physically was located, and it would forward to there. Because here at the time, cell phone companies were not charging to forward their phones. So you would get a free call basically instead of calling to the ISP if the ISP, let's say, was 25 miles away. Because that was back in the day before your phone gave you a free call for 25. You crossed that area code, you got billed. My bill.
Okay, the piece that I'm having difficulty justifying there or figuring out is when we're talking about dial-up modems and ISDNs, that was before we had cell phones that could handle data.
No, it wasn't. But see, when you did the forwarding, the cell phone wasn't handling the data. It was just handling the call forward. Like right now, if I call you on your home phone or your cell phone, you could forward it to your daughter's cell phone.
Yeah.
It wouldn't cost anything to actually forward it, and only I and her would be talking. You would not be in the. When I say talking, I mean, logically, the 2 phones are going to be talking to each other. It wouldn't go through your phone. It would be handed off to her phone.
Okay, sure. Gotcha.
So your phone wouldn't just hand it off to hers, and I'd be talking to her. It would never go through your phone for the handoff.
Okay. Does this have anything to do with back in the day when we used dial-up modems to internet service provider?
100%. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Back in the day, you would have one number for an ISP. Let's say your house, and maybe somebody 25 miles away from here would want to call into you. That would be a long distance call, and they'd be charged by the minute. Okay. If you set up your cell phone and forwarded it to your actual phone number, ISP, they would get it for free. And then they could advertise, let's say 3 or 4 248 numbers. At least that's how it worked in Detroit.
All right. I want to let go of this and move on. That's just hard to conceive because we could do forwarding of landline phones.
Correct.
Why would you use a cell phone in order to accomplish forwarding? Why not use landlines? They were really expensive back then.
No, well, wait, I mean, I understand what you just said. The landline call forwarding was charged by Ma Bell to forward it. The cell phone operators were not charging to forward it.
Huh. So you're saying a dial-up ISPs were using cell phones to do that forwarding because those providers weren't charging extra for the forwarding, but those cellular calling plans cost more than a landline monthly cost?
Yeah, but the problem is all your users wanted a free call to you. And if you were 20 miles away from your home, your location was ISP. 20 miles away back then might have cost you 45 cents a minute. You're on 2 hours, going around reading stuff. Think how much that would have cost. So if I pay $100 for a cell phone and you don't have to pay, you like me better.
All right. So again, I'm going to move on past this because
That's
I don't think I'm going to get the full grasp on this, but apparently you were involved in that into the industry back then.
Yes.
In Detroit area. Okay. Moving on. Wow. That's surprising. Then Aljays. If I'm right, dial-up internet was charged by the minute. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
All right. Yeah. It was charged by the minute.
And if you go around it, you don't charge by the minute.
Is Doug confused yet?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Very much so. I don't know what. It's not what I'm doing. I don't know what Gary's talking about. That's a look stream. I don't want you to explain it, Gary, because I want to move on. Because that'll take longer for me I'd have to really focus on what you're saying there to get that. I have too much going on in my head right now. So, Catherine, yes.
Does Tim come in too into the Zoom?
Does Tim come in? Well, he certainly can.
Oh,
if he...
Jim. Yes.
I don't see him.
It's in the chat.
It's in the chat?
Yes.
Let me go catch up. Oh, he's in the chat. Yeah, but he's not in Zoom.
Yes.
Are you asking him to come into Zoom?
Yes.
Oh, okay. You've heard the call, Jim. Yeah, there he's saying a huge squirrel. You're right, Jim. So that's why we're moving on.
He's probably catching up in DVR mode.
That could be. He's done that. Well, actually, he already knows our squirrel mode, right? Our squirrel right now. So he might have been with us all along. Let's see. Back in the day, had monthly service charge $39.99 for the modem service. What has that got to do with rising costs of Rubik's cubes? I have a few Rubik's cubes. I have a solution memorized at one time, no more. But you need to pay your phone bill separately. Yeah. Dial-up internet, $16 a month. There we go. Okay, shall I do an unboxing? The word. 2 unboxings we got here.
Yes.
Let's go do this. Bring up the tripod. There's somebody coming in. Oh, it is Jim. Hi, Jim.
Well, that's the first time I've gotten a request to show up.
Yeah, how about that?
We like you, Jim. We really like you.
All of a sudden, I'm Sally Field. You like me. You really like me.
Hello, Tim.
Hey, Catherine.
Hey, Doug, just a quick one is for what you're doing. Some of the mesh routers that are coming out don't allow you to turn off DHCP. Can these routers turn off DHCP?
Yes, okay. They can.
Cool.
Now, I'm saying that having not done it, but I've been into the configuration screen of this one, and my recollection is it had full settings control. Go ahead, Catherine.
I have another question. Which Swiss Army knife do you have? Is it the Wenger or is it the Victorinox?
It's the red one.
Light red or dark red?
No.
It's got a shield.
You have to show me the emblem.
Well, I'm showing it now.
Victorinox. Yes, it's a Victorinox. Thank you.
What is it?
It's a Victorinox. It's a small one.
Victorinox.
Yes.
All right.
Don't they have like 100 versions or something ridiculous if you go on Amazon and you search for Swiss Army knife?
Yes. You can have from the smallest to the biggest one.
It's got a toothpick.
Yes.
Nice.
And it's got tweezers.
Yes,
And
that's the one for the keychain.
all right. Yeah, so it's got the keychain hook on it, which I never use that. And I've had a few of these, and they are my favorite knives.
It has a knife and it has a nail file.
Yeah, and scissors. So
yes, some of them have scissors.
I did put in the thumbnail that we're gonna be doing a review of a Swiss Army knife, right? No,
Yes,
I did not. Yeah, so the nail file and the knife. I have used the nail file and the knife. I have used the scissors. I have used the toothpick, and I have used the tweezers.
Yeah,
So
see?
I know whereof I speak, except for the name of it. All right, so here's this router, and it's a Wi-Fi router. These antenna side panels open up. These ports are labeled WAN, LAN, and LAN. So you got 2 LAN ports. The ports are pretty fully configurable. I have configured routers where the ports weren't even labeled because every port was fully configurable and the device wouldn't do anything until you do the configuration. And that was Ubiquiti.
Right.
Let's see, what's the name of their edge routers? Edge routers and Edge routers Lite. And then there's a USB port, and then there's a power port, which is a USB Type-C. So you could be powering this off of your laptop if you're out remote. Or you could have, of course, an AC adapter that has a USB cable connected to it and a Type-C here. And it has a place for a micro SD card, which I haven't looked into anything about what to use that for. And then on this side, it has a mode switch and it has a power switch. And that power switch is kind of unusual because it's just a plastic tab. It looks like you push on it, which bends the plastic tab down in such a way that you would be depressing the actual button that's underneath.
Yeah, it's like soldered into a motherboard. I actually had an issue with my Asus router where I pressed the reset button too hard, and it just broke off on the inside, and I had to send it to Amazon.
Ah.
So it's the same setup, I think, with this router. It's inside.
Well, now this is interesting. So here's some power-related stuff that's in here in plastic bags. So let's take them out of the plastic bags. Here's your power plug. I don't think I've seen one quite that.
Yeah, that's for different. So this is the US and the South American one. Yes.
Yeah, so I'm getting the adapter here that would be for US.
There are other adapters for Europe and for Japan as well. Yes.
Yeah, so here's the actual wall adapter, and you would put in whatever adapter works for your, your locality.
Yes.
You're not going to plug this directly into any power outlet.
No, you don't.
It's got another one of these plastic tabs that you press down, which would be to release the adapter that goes into here.
But the different adapters make totally sense because it's a travel router. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So I put that in a little turn, and it snapped into place. And then the other side of this is a USB Type-C.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And then they give us an Ethernet cord, the flat style.
Yes, because
And
it's faster.
yeah, and this, I'm a little surprised at this, is that this doesn't, you can't use some other cord on this AC adapter. That's not a big deal because you can plug this into into a laptop or into, well, no, not into a laptop. You're going to plug this into, oh, now wait a minute. I just discovered something I didn't expect. This will plug into the router. That's a little ambiguous. It doesn't feel like it's all the way in. You can see a little bit.
And maybe you have to push harder.
Yeah, I think so. It's really not in. Yeah. Yeah, so that took more force than the novice user would do. And I had my client, you know, I configured 2 of these for my client, but this is the first time I've had my hands on it. The others I configured completely remotely. So he plugged them in, and apparently he realized that he needed to push it in hard enough. And it was easy for me to realize that we could have had trouble that I never would have guessed it's because he didn't push that in far enough.
Does it stick in or is it loose? I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, legitimate question. Does it stick in when you push harder, or is it?
Oh yeah, it's firmly in place. It's not going to fall out. So there's this card with a. Well, how come every time I display one of these symbols, I forget what to call it? Code.
QR code.
UR code.
Yes,
QR
yes.
code. Yeah.
Yes.
And so that'll probably just take you to their website, gl.inet. And I put a link to both of these devices in the show notes. So then here's another thing they have is a get started instruction. And this is just a single sheet card. Insert cards power on. Oh, you know what? I'll bet that. Oh, hot plug for micro SD card is not supported for this router. All right, they give us the slot, but in very tiny print right here where my thumb is, it says it's not supported for this router. And over here, they show inserting one.
Because this manual may apply to another model as well that has the SD card enabled, yes?
Yeah, maybe you're ordering it the package differently. This model has the slot for it, but rather than selling 2 physical different models, you would order it perhaps with a micro SD card that has maybe a cellular provider account, so that you could actually be picking up your internet connection through a data plan from a cellular account. That's what I'm thinking. So then down here, connect via Wi-Fi, which is what I did to configure my client's device. And the default password is the same on this that we used on his. And it forces you to set a new password right away, which is a good thing. And it has an IP address configured of 192.168.8.1. So their instructions have you connect by Wi-Fi to the device using the SSID that this thing is broadcasting. But if you wanted to connect a computer, I suspect you would have to configure a static IP address on the computer that's compatible with 192.168.8.1, such as 192.168.8.10. Just last night, I configured a Wi-Fi repeater for my youngest brother, Bob, and that's exactly the technique I use because the Wi-Fi method of configuring that device would not work. And then here's another card that comes with it for support, which has some additional information. Let's see, I've got a text message here. Let's see if that's somebody related to the channel. Nope, it's not. All right, so that's the unboxing of that one. Before doing any configuration with it, I'm going to unbox the other one. Now let's go look at this. I'm just this panel here on the outer cover. I'm not asking you to read it through the YouTube video. The first one was OpenWRT. So that's the operating system that it uses. Gigabit ports, dual band Wi-Fi, 512 gigabyte max micro SD. Encrypt. Oh, you know what? I'd want to use that for logging because there's a lot of plugins that are available to install on this, and one of them I saw was for logging. And I thought, well, that device certainly doesn't have much storage space, so this would be a way to do logging. And then encryption, IPv6, which, to my knowledge, nobody's using for local networks, and then Tor. So that's the Tor browser. I think it has an interface in it that you can use the Tor browser. All right, moving on to, well, before we open router B, let's go look at chat. There's the last one I have highlighted. Jim's got a link in here for, oh, the pocket knife. I bet that is, right?
A version of it, a much larger one than you're using.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
That's, Jim, that's an excellent Swiss Army knife. I use the same.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've had mine for at least a decade.
Yes, me too. Me too. This is a beautiful knife.
Yeah, that looks like a great knife. Oh, let's see. So that lists all the things that it does. I would not use it because I don't like carrying a lot of large objects in my pockets. And if I'm around my tools, then I'll use my full-size tools for stuff. But if I were of a mind to be camping or something like that, that might be different.
No, you don't need that for camping. Sorry. This is a knife that was specifically developed for like PC building and for taking things apart.
PC building, huh? Wouldn't you rather use regular full-size tools when you're building a computer?
No, I use it often
when
when I do something on my PCs. I use
All right.
it very often because it has all the bits that you want. If you look at the picture, like the black plastic, it holds all the small bits.
The black palette. Yeah, I did notice that. You're referring to this black plastic right here that has the bits, and then you would insert those bits into this driver right here.
Yes. So if you don't need it at the moment, then you store it in there.
$80. All right. That's a good. It's got to be built well.
Like you get an iFixit toolkit for that amount and get, like every single bit ever. I have like 2 of those.
Yeah, there's a lot of full-size
Did you
tools.
turn off the waiting room?
Michael,
Yes.
try to open a bottle of wine with your iFixit toolkit.
I see. There's a thing. I've never opened a bottle of wine. Actually, I did open it once, and with the corkscrew, and the wine just went on the ceiling and on the wall. It wasn't good.
Actually, if you use the slot one, the number 1 slot, it'll work fine.
All right, let me go back to chat. Let's see. So got that link, and then moving on. Let's see. Get over here on the right screen, and then Dan the Man, micro SD card is for network file sharing. Okay, yeah. So you could, it would be a shared location on the network that everyone could have access to. That makes sense. I did not see any support that it could connect to cellular data as your internet connection. So I made that comment earlier. I have no substantiation for that. Oh, let's see. Ken says, gotta run, show's winding down. See everyone tonight? We winding down?
He's at a record show today.
He what?
He is at a record show today.
Oh, he's
Vinyl
at
Records.
a record show. All right. So the show he's at is winding down. Speedy C says, very interesting stream as always. Thank you, Speedy. You know what? I've seen you around here enough. Let's go do another cha-ching. What's the sound effect for making somebody a moderator? Whoops. Wait a minute. Why is it? Oh, he's already a moderator.
Yes, because you made him stuck. You made him moderator last week.
Yeah. So why was I even going there? Is he's obviously blue.
Colorblind?
I don't know. But okay, I started going down that road, so I got to at least do somebody. How about Alges? Add moderator. There you go. Alges, welcome aboard. And now for our sponsored segment featuring JZWO Cents and Fix It App.
Jay's 2 cents.
Oh, Jay's 2 cents. All right, yeah. I recognize it now. Move the bottle of wine to turn the cork. That's the problem. Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah, I could see that. Put the corkscrew in and then turn the bottle. Oops, I'm demonstrating that on Zoom and nobody's seeing that on the video. So I was.
No, he's talking about Burns Farm at, $1 a bottle with screw-on caps.
Oh, no, he's not. Move the bottle of wine, not turn the cork. Yeah, but yeah, if you don't want to have problems with the cork, then buy the screw tops. All right. Hal J's laughing at me about making him moderator. He's already moderator. I dropped down the menu and all it showed me was remove moderator. Thank you for made me a mod. All right, then let's go on to number 2. Oh, who's coming in? Josh is here. Hello, Josh.
Hi, Doug. I'm going to mute myself.
All right. So here's number 2, and it's from the same company, gl.inet, mini smart router. And it says OpenVPN, compact size, and travel friendly. So most significantly, it's smaller size. And then, of course, we've got the same QR code to go to their website. They've got more instructions, longer instructions. The big one didn't have that much instructions. Maybe it's because they're trying to give more detail to possibly less informed users. This one, I put the price of this in the description of this video. I think it was like $20-something, or very inexpensive. It's showing here that it has internal antenna, so it does Wi-Fi, even though we don't see an antenna. And here's, wow. When I saw this box with the instructions over it, I saw, okay, is it really smaller than the big one, or is it just in a smaller box? But no, my gosh, it's smaller. It's just in this little portion here. Here's a travel router that easily fits into a pocket. Has a port labeled WAN and a port labeled LAN. Has a USB port, there, the white one. And then next is a reset button. And then right here is a switch that I'm gonna guess is a power switch. It's not labeled.
It's maybe for different modes.
Oh, wow. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. Right up here in this corner, as I turn it different ways, you can occasionally see a light through it. Oh, you see all the way through the other side. It looks like a 3-bladed fan. I don't think it is. I think it's just, does it turn? No, it doesn't turn. I think it's just a ventilation port. And then there's holes on the bottom. That would be also ventilation. And the label on the bottom gives everything a technician would need to configure it. It gives that default IP address, the default SSID, and the default password and MAC address, and a whole bunch of information. I think I could probably configure that without these instructions at all. So it looks like they have another version of this router that has physical antennas, external antennas. This one has internal antennas. Package contents, repair, reset, plug in power internet, connect Wi-Fi, set up the mini router. These instructions look pretty thorough and probably reasonable to follow. Mode switch is for router mode or bridge mode. That's what that switch is.
Yes, I said it.
You said that earlier?
Yes.
All right. Oh, my chair's stuck. I'm going to have to move these drawers I have under the desk for this new setup. Chair doesn't like it. All right. Now, I did show you the device, and then there's a Ethernet cable. And oh, this one has, for the power cable, just a USB cable with a USB type A on one side, and oh, that's not a type C. That's what is it? Micro USB. Yeah. So this is not a type C power connection. This is that's a
Most of the surprisingly, most of the devices like that, like your headsets and those little routers like that, other than your cell phones, still use micro USB.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I have to have 3 connections. I have 3 connections by my nightstand plugged in to a little USB hub, a little charging USB hub. I have one that's micro USB, one that is lightning, and one that is USB-C for my phone, tablet, and headphones. All 3 use a different connection.
Yes. I see.
And
actually, it's not a USB. It's a micro B.
Yeah,
micro B.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, Doug, what do you expect? Micro B is cheap. The router is cheap. Yes. So you should not expect the USB-C on that type of router. Yes.
Yeah.
But if the router costs like $25 US to buy.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't see any disadvantage to not being USB-C, really.
Western Digital used to use micro B on their external drives.
Who did?
Western Digital.
All right.
The way I have a Seagate external drive, and I've used both Seagate and Western Digital hard drives, and in my experience, they don't use either micro B or mini B. They use some kind of funky connector that I don't know what the official name of it is.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I looked that up. It is a variation. It's a variation on one of the others. I think it's like a USB 3 micro B.
Yep.
Something like that. Did I nail it, Gary?
Yes, you did. There's 2 sides to it, like.
Yeah. It's the same difference as when you look at a USB 2.0 that's got an A on one side and a regular B on the other side. That B looks like a very simple house shape, or it's got kind of a roof and corners and then down. And then the 3.0 USB type B connector has an extra portion to that. I've got those real close here, don't I? I thought I did. And something I discovered recently is that I didn't realize is you could connect a USB 2.0 cable to a USB 3.0 drive, external drive, and the cable doesn't look like it'll fit, but it will go in and it will work at 2.0 speed. So here's actually a drive. So this is a USB 3.0, and here's the B connector. The bottom half of that is the exact shape and size of a USB 2.0 B connector. It doesn't have the apartment on top of the house. and it will plug into there. So that's a backwards compatibility of USB 3.0 devices, or provides for that possibility. The device might not be actually compatible or backward compatible, depending upon the device. All right, come back to chat. And there's my last. And mini router is currently unavailable on Amazon. Really? I placed the order 2 days ago on Thursday, and it came in yesterday.
He's not at USA though.
Oh, all right. That's Shavi, yeah. All right. So it's probably, I'm going to guess it's still available in US. Let's turn off picture in picture to see that. Europe rules to force USB chargers for all phones, including Apple. Oh, that's interesting. And I'm guessing that implies Alsace is in Europe somewhere.
That's the reason why I think that's part of the reason why the newest model iPads and iPhones also, I'm assuming, use USB-C instead of Lightning.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that would make sense. If they're being forced to do it in Europe, they might as well do it everywhere. And I just got a new iPhone 13 mini. Is that what they call it? I think mini is the right word. And it is a USB Type-C connector.
If I ever get a new iPad, if I ever upgrade my iPad, I'll be able to lose one of my cables. I'll only have to have 2 cables instead of 3 cables.
My nose just grew. I lied. That's wrong. It's not a USB Type-C. It is a Lightning cable. I don't know why I was thinking it was Type-C. All right. I kind of had it on my mind that I would get into the configuration screen on this device, but I didn't think it through how I was going to do that. Since I need to connect to the Wi-Fi, I could just use Baby Beast to connect to it through Wi-Fi. Except that Baby Beast, it doesn't even isn't connected by Ethernet right now. It's connected by Wi-Fi to my network. Let's see. I could use Big Beast to connect to it by Wi-Fi. Yeah, they'll go that way. Now, which one do you want me to try? Which one do you want to bring up a configuration screen for? Let's see if anybody in chat or Zoom has a preference.
Both?
Both.
Yes.
Catherine's not a demanding person. She said, do it all, Doug. Go for the gusto.
Yeah, I'm not demanding at all. I just asked for 2.
Say that again.
I said, I'm not demanding at all. I just asked for 2.
Yeah, you
Why
just asked for
one when
2.
you can have 2?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Well, I have one. That's a doublemint story again, right? That's a
Yes.
thing on this channel.
You know the Japanese cat that is moving the right paw or the left paw? There are also cats that move both paws.
There's cats that move both paws.
Yes.
Okay.
There is Japanese cat.
The
Yes.
Japanese cat. Okay.
Yes. And one paw is for money, and one paw is for good luck. Yes.
All right.
But why choose one or the other when you can have a cat that moves both paws? Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Why
Yeah.
why just have good luck or just have money? We want both.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Right.
Because it's more practical too. Yes.
Yeah.
To have
Okay.
both.
Let me move on here and catch up. Let's see that here's oh, we are caught up. Oh, I was looking to see what other people say. Arnold Albert is on this in the same boat with you, Catherine. He wants both.
Yeah, see.
And I know Arnold Albert's name enough. Does the Zoom room concur to make him a moderator?
Yes.
All right, Arnold, you got 1 vote there, and it's from the demanding person, so I'm going to do it.
Good. Thank you, Doc.
Yeah, is that for following your request, or is that for referring to you as a demanding person? Or both? Both. It's both, right? That's what it's all about. Is both.
Yes, it's both because why not?
Yeah, why not? That's right.
So
Why not?
1 stone and let 2 flies die. Yes.
Okay. Okay. And then also you voted for Arnold because he was on board with you, in agreement with you, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on. If I'm gonna get both, I better get a move on. I'm gonna start with the big one. Let's see. So I know these are going to be the same configuration, and I got to pay attention to what camera I have on right now. So move the twist tie, and I've got a power connection. I've got power strips on all 3 sides of this desk. I'll walk around the other side, plug that in. And then I know it's 192.168.8.1. See, what do I want to bring up? Let's do that over here. And also going to need, let's see, yeah, I can do that all the way through. So here we're back to, this is the same monitor that I was using for displaying chat. I'm going to right click on the network icon, that's monitor down in the bottom right corner in the notification area, and then choose open network and internet settings. And then I'll drag this window over to the monitor so you can see it. Click on Wi-Fi, show available networks. And then this network hasn't shown up yet. It might not be booted far enough for that. We're expecting GL-MT1300. Oh, let's look at the mode switch.
Yes.
Do I have that configured correctly? That shows there's a reset button, there's a mode switch, And which way is which? Because it does not tell me. The labeling doesn't make it clear.
Say your name.
Hi. Hi.
I've got Josh muted because he's got something. Oh, wait a minute. Was he saying bringing his Natasha in here?
Say hi to you.
Oh, okay. So I've asked you to unmute Josh, and let's bring you back up on screen. This looks. I think this is Natasha. Is it? Josh, you'll have to unmute your device there. There, you've got it unmuted. Hi, Natasha.
Hi.
How are you? Good to see you.
Good.
Good to meet you.
Good to meet you too.
Yeah, Josh said it had it in the chat room before the show began. He said he was out some location with his wife, Natasha. So this is her. Thanks for coming on and saying hello to us.
You're welcome.
I will.
All right. Okay, we're going to move back to the project at hand here. And I'm going to take you off screen and go back over to this other monitor. All right, Ben. Has it shown up yet? Let's go back here to Wi-Fi and show available networks. There it is. Those two. So there's the two, that would be the 2.4 gigahertz, and then this one would be the 5 gigahertz. And it looks like I have better signal strength on the 5 gigahertz. Right? And do they, I can't imagine it matters which one that I choose, although I did come across a device that told me specifically use the 2.4 for configuration. That happened last night for my youngest brother. I haven't heard anybody for a while. Let's make sure my audio is still good. Is everything
Yes,
going okay?
all good.
All right.
I just wanted to talk to you because otherwise you get confused again. And then
Yeah, that's good. And I just pop over to chat there and be sure nobody's telling me about any troubles. So let's come back to settings and then get joined onto this. The network key for this device is VUT. They tell me this on the label, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Good Life. GOODLIFE.
Doug, it looks like your signal just went down to nothing.
My signal went down. Oh, my Wi-Fi signal? Oh, yeah,
Yes.
sure does. Yeah, right there. All those bars went away. And the other one's not
Sometimes
even
that'll
visible.
happen to me too. It happened to me earlier today before your stream. Sometimes my computer will just randomly disconnect and I have to turn off the Wi-Fi, turn it
Okay.
back on to.
Okay, let me move on now. I'm going to click next here and see what we get. Let's hang on a second. Let me click next and see what happens. It's probably not going to connect, which is what we're all expecting. And then down here is the other one, and it's showing 1 signal strength. Okay, so Catherine, you were starting to say something?
yes,
Go
it's
ahead.
to Alex. Alex, check in device manager your Wi-Fi and take out the sleep. Untick it if in the advanced option.
And power manage, device manager and power management for the device. Is that what you're thinking?
You can go into device manager, into the network, into the Wi-Fi, and go to the advanced tab. And if in there it says sleep, then remove the tick that is in there, so
Yeah.
it doesn't go down to sleep.
So I'm showing that on the YouTube video because that's something that's worth showing if we're even going to talk about it. So here I'm coming to the Wi-Fi adapter in the Big Beast build. I'll right-click on that, choose Properties, and then go to Power Management. And so allow computer to turn this device off to save power, remove that check mark.
Yes. Yes, that's what I mean.
Yeah, and then click OK. And then additionally, even the Ethernet adapter, I'll go check that, and it has a power management also. And so I don't want the computer ever turning that off. And I don't need it to wake up the computer. An Ethernet device can wake up a computer, so you should wake up a computer over the network. I don't need that. And then I don't want the computer turning that device off ever. The default is that it does allow it. So if you're having troubles with network disconnecting, that would be something to try. All right, getting back where I was at. Oh, look at this. It did connect. There's no internet because the device doesn't have internet yet. And I hear some beeping from Little Beast. That beeping is from Little Beast of devices disconnecting, so that's not a problem. Signal strength goes back up. All right, so we're connected. And then let's go try browsing to that. I'm punching up the zoom so that when I switch to a different screen, I don't inadvertently display something that I don't want to. Not that there's anything there specifically I'm concerned about. I'm just trying to get into that habit better. I have once in a while shown a screen I didn't intend to. 192.168.8.1. So I just type that into the browser URL field, press enter, and boom, chakalaka, that is the configuration screen for this device. GL MT1300, we're using English, so I'll click next. That goes to the next screen. So here's setting up an admin password. So I have to put in a new admin password. And if I start typing, do I get a view button? I don't get an eyeball to display it, but maybe if I do long enough, there's a check mark. I just hammered away at characters. I have no idea what I typed. And then that's not going to be the password. I'm not going to set that. I just wanted to see if it was going to give me an eyeball. So I'm not going to get to see the password. So therefore, I'm going to find me a sheet of paper here and write down the password and be sure to specify whether I'm doing uppercase or lowercase anywhere. See, I guess I can turn on picture-in-picture here. All right. This is CLI. All right, so I'm going to do capital G, capital L, lowercase I. Some of you are looking up at me now I'm like, wait a minute, is he actually going to tell us what the password is? Yes, but this is not actually going to be in service, okay? You're not going to be getting to this.
I don't care.
Yeah. Basically, the reason why I'm doing this is to give maybe some ideas about constructing a secure password that's easy to type when you look at it at your sheet of paper. So then I'm going to say, I'm not going to say good life. That's a little too obvious, but I'll say good times. And then I'll say, let's see, we'll pick up a number from somewhere. Could pick up something related to the date or an address or a phone number or something that's reasonable to remember. And I'm going to just make it simple, 22. So this is a pretty long password. It's a capital G, capital L. The rest of the letters are lowercase. I good times 22. Now the I is because the device name is GLI. So I'm GLI good times 22. Now let's go see how good of a password that is. How secure. And my point in doing this little rabbit, yeah, is just kind of hammering a little bit on the point about doing secure passwords. This tool is now being maintained over at security.org. All right, so I'll click on that. and that goes to security.org for this. And then I'll type in that password, capital G, capital L, IGOODTIMES 22, 9 million years. Now, add a $sign at the end of that, 15 billion years. So just some thoughts about creating secure passwords that are easy for type, and you can actually write it down somewhere in a way that's not obviously a password. And if you use something that's a little more generic, that seems to be like, oh, this thing says like our Facebook page on their little card here. So you could have a password, maybe GLI Facebook liked April. So that just looks like a note to yourself that you like them on Facebook, not your password. Enough of that. Going back to...
Well, that's a lot easier than the passwords I have set up for our website, because not even I know those passwords. I have to copy paste them.
That's my point. It's just some of those passwords, it's just impossible. And if you start doing copying and pasting, that's a security vulnerability right there, because it goes into your clipboard. If there's any the clipboard logging malware on your computer, well, you got that to contend with. I like typing in passwords that are easy to type, that are long, and when you write them down somewhere, you can write, perhaps I have some things that I write in some code where I'll just put X's for certain placeholders that I know what I would have put there. So I don't actually have it noted in full anywhere. All right, so now coming back to the configuration interface. So then capital G, capital L, IGOODTIMES 22. I can type that pretty quickly and easily. All right. Your admin password will be used for configuring everything on the admin panel of your router. It's extremely important to keep it safe and not announce it on YouTube. Oh, this one has an X. See that X right there? I did something wrong. So let me go try retyping that.
Yeah, it does.
Yes?
It doesn't like it when it has an X.
It doesn't like what?
It doesn't like the password if it has an X. Something is
No,
wrong.
not true in this case. It gave me a green check mark on the top one, and now when I typed it in again, apparently I made a mistake previously. It gives me a green check mark. Now, if it gave me a red X on the top one, and I hadn't done the same, and I hadn't already typed the password in, I'd agree with you. But I had a green check mark on top, and the second field was an X. So now I typed it correctly. Notice there, I could have said I typed it in correctly, but that sounds like I typed it wrong, right? I typed it in.
Yeah, you want to confuse people.
Yes,
I
yes.
know what you mean.
I'm just
can
showing.
You type it incorrectly or incorrectly.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm showing you the mind of Doug.
Yeah, it's confused.
All right, clicking submit. Then we're gonna go take a look at chat. Saved a RoboForum. Nope, I'm not gonna save that. And that gives us the configuration screen. And switching back to chat. See what V got. Scrolling up to the last time I highlighted. Nope, looks like I didn't highlight. So here we go. Mini router currently unavailable. EU rules. Oh, not much more happening here in orange anyway. May I recommend using the USB-C to Lightning iPhone cable as fast charging, especially on PCs, laptops, USB-C port? Let's see. May I recommend using USB-C to Lightning iPhone cable? It's fast charging, especially on PCs or laptops, USB-C port. Interesting point. I don't have a need for it myself because I don't ever have my phone away from power for any length of time. But Interesting point there. So the implication is USB-C to Lightning is going to charge faster than a AC adapter to Lightning port. I've never looked into that. I don't know. Catherine, you're saying yes?
No, I don't have Apple products. I don't use them, and I
That
will
depends
not.
on the wattage of your AC adapter, the USB AC adapter
Good
you're
point.
using.
It seems like if the wattage on your AC adapter is high enough that a USB-C port would not be able to exceed that. It seems to me there are 1.5 amps for Apple products. Let's see. Zvi says a method to see invisible string in browser. Oh, really? That's interesting. I'll go look at that. View hidden passwords behind asterisks in Chrome and Firefox. Almost all browsers hide the password field with asterisks for security purposes. Having your browser save them saves you the hassle of remembering them all, but if your password wasn't saved for some reason and you have a complex passcode, it's nice to be able to see what's behind the curtain. See passwords behind the asterisk. Open any website where you have your password saved, right-click the password field and go to Inspect Element.
Okay.
All right, that's interesting. When the HTML editor opens, look for input type password field, change password to text, and press enter to save. Oh, okay. So you're temporarily reconfiguring that HTML page so that it'll not display as asterisks. Interesting technique. An easy way to find that line of codes, Control F. Yes, been there, done that, but I haven't seen this technique for displaying the password. Now, I haven't had enough need to care about remembering that. When I've had trouble because a website doesn't show me what I typed, what I'll do is I'll type it into the search field in Windows down on the bottom left, and I'll copy it from there and paste it into the password field. Now, I don't actually complete that search because I don't want that search term remembered by Windows search. So that's how I get around it. But that's interesting technique. All right. Going back to chat.
But
All right.
I
Yes,
have
Catherine.
saving the password in the browser. No, don't do it.
Yeah, that wasn't the point of that rabbit excursion, but yeah, saving. Now there are some cases where I will concur with saving in the browser. Now I don't do it, but it would only be when you have that when you're logged in, like with Chrome or with Edge, and you're actually logged in to your Microsoft account, log into your Google account, and everything's stored in those accounts, and you have a complex password, a good, complex, unique password on that account. The average user won't know to do that. So Catherine's advice, the generic first step of advice is saying, don't do it. Yeah, that's a good thing to put out there. You need to know what you're doing if you're going to use a browser for saving your passwords.
Doug, got a quick one for you. Did you say with your iPhone, they came out with a new charger with the 13s. I don't know what you had before, but it's now a 20-watt charger.
It actually did. Well, I didn't order the charger with it. That was an extra, and I just figured I have enough around here, and I was vaguely aware that, well, they have the wireless chargers and the faster chargers. I don't need that because I'm not traveling. I'm always here. If I go to a client's office, my battery's never going to get worn down much, so I just don't care.
This doesn't charge in your car either. That's the problem. Mine's always plugged into the car. Anyway.
No, repeat that part. You're saying this won't charge from my car?
It will charge, but very slowly, as opposed
okay.
to 21.
Okay.
I'm right now. I'm going. What's wrong with my cell phone? What's wrong with my cell phone? You know, it's myself. Then I realized instead of 0.5, it is now 20. So it's a lot different.
All right.
So
Yeah,
if you go
I often use this portable battery for charging for my cell phone. It does have a 1.5 amp connection, but again, I'm not needing the fast charging option for me. But thanks for bringing that up, because somebody else watching the video might have needed that tip. Let's get back to this configuration screen. So here's the configuration. These are all the same menu options that I went through for configuring my client's VPN connection. You can change the wireless settings for this device. And then for down here on more settings, here's the LAN IP. So you would change this to be consistent with your local network. If you're going to connect this device's WAN port to your ISP router's LAN port, then we want for it to be able to pick up a dynamic IP address from the ISP router. So let's see, here's the mode of this is functioning as a router. I'm looking, where is that setting from? It should be LAN IP. Start of address where, guest IP. Looking for where the WAN, oh, internet. That's where the WAN connection is going to be for the internet connection on this device. Yeah, I can look towards my streaming computer, and I'm actually clicking on that monitor as I'm looking on this monitor. So let's turn off the picture-in-picture. No cable detected in WAN. So now if I plug in a LAN connection, then this device should pick up a internet IP address. It will actually pick up a local network IP address in my office here, but it will be able to get to the internet that way. So I need, where's my easiest? I had some Ethernet cables on my desk, but that was before the big changes that I did. I'm going to go find one.
Maybe you need one again.
I need what?
Maybe you need one again. Like you said, you had it before the change, but now you don't have one, so you need one again.
Yes, I do. I haven't completed all of the setup in this environment yet. I'm going to have to step out of the room to get that. Talk amongst yourselves.
Here's something interesting I just remembered. On our college firewall we set up, the network administrator first set it up for me, and they had on the WAN side, it actually had a private address, but you could still configure it to use their public address, and you didn't have to do any kind of port forwarding or anything extra. So I think that was like what they call net reflection or something like that, where the actual interface of your WAN interface actually is assigned a private address, but I can get to it just like if it had a public address assigned to it.
Yeah, but this is a very special setup. Yes.
Was that possibly an additional static IP address they had available that wasn't being currently used?
What I mean here is that the school had given me a static IP address that was just assigned to me. But if I logged into our firewall, on my side, the WAN side IP address was a 10.2.0 number, was a private IP private IP address. Typically, you would have to do port forwarding and stuff like that. Well, in that particular case, they had something set up on their end where I did not have to do port forwarding, even though the private IP address was not actually on the interface of our firewall. I could still access the public IP address as if it was.
That sounds like it would have been a routing rule.
Because our
that
firewall was connected to their router somewhere along the line.
Yeah. Well, a routing rule will take queries that are within a certain IP range and allow them to go through certain interfaces on devices. And that sounds like what you had going on there. But let's move back to this. Let's bring up this camera. So here I've got my Ethernet and connect to the WAN port, and then switch back to the programming interface, and let's see if that just comes up. Boom, there it is. It just popped on me, and there it popped again. Without clicking anything, it has picked up an IP address from my local network. So this is a LAN address on from my ISP router, and this device is treating that as its WAN address. And for anyone that doesn't know, LAN stands for Local Area Network. WAN stands for Wide Area Network, and is typically referred to as the internet side of a router or the internet at large. All right, then and that picked up a net mask, standard 255.255.255.0, which was, what do we call that? Class C?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the Class C. That's the subnet. That's
the
default Class C for a subnet mask.
That's a subnet mask for a Class C network. So this Class C network would be 192.168.1.0/ what's
24.
the number? 24. Thank you. You're more fresh on that. Those numbers. I had to go to a cheat sheet on the internet when I was working on these, because we had two different class networks that we were dealing with in this recent.
It's
VPN
been about a
connection.
year. It's been about a year since I graduated college, but it's been about a year since I've actually done any of this stuff in production, other than just our normal home network type of stuff. I'm still surprised I remember as much as I do.
All right. Then in this applications drop down, no, VPN drop down, this is where we did our configuration. We use this WireGuard client. So when we went through all the configuration for setting up this WireGuard client manually, we went over here to manual input and put in our IP address for this device, or for that remote location, the private key for that remote location, the port we were going to listen on DNS, we put in the DNS server in the office, and then the peer is the information for the computer on the other side. In our case, it was the corresponding router that's in the office, which is a bigger, more powerful router because it needs to provide connections for many more computers than we do at the remote location.
The
So
DNS server in the office, Doug, is that just a router, DNS server, or is that a Active Directory controller?
It's an Active Directory controller. So it's a server in the office that's not only the Active Directory controller, but it's also a DNS server, and it's also a domain controller, and it's a file server. And those are all different modes or different roles that a modern Windows server can be configured for.
Today's Saturday, right?
So then there's the public key and the endpoint host and the allowed IPs. This is where it designate what IP address ranges can be that can travel across the connection, and a pre-shared key. I'm not going to go into all the details of that because that's more than should be the scope of this video.
Doc,
Catherine. Yeah.
can I say something?
Yes.
There is a YouTube channel. It's by David Rivera, and he has actually a good video where he explains exactly what you say is too difficult to explain here. But he explains it very well. So if you want to go there and check it out, then you can do it.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's too difficult to explain here. What I'm saying, it would take more time than I'm willing to do on this video. Yeah. And then also to be explaining it to the variety of levels of people's current understandings would be challenging to do. So, and let me finish, because I'm not in this world often enough that I don't know it inside and out. I struggle a little bit. I don't want to try to be doing a YouTube live stream at the same time that I'm trying to focus my attention on that.
So David, he has a video on it and he explains it very well. He explains it that well that I can understand what he means, you know.
All right. Can you?
It's really good.
I'd love for you to put a link into the chat or guide me to it, and I'll put the link in.
Yes. Yes, let me check. Yes.
Because since we've mentioned it, we might as well offer that to anyone else who's interested.
We do that. Yes. One second.
All right. Coming back to chat, checking in with chat. Scrolling up to see where it was. Let's see. I think I already covered that. Yeah. Oh, nothing else in red. All right. And this one looks like probably some other Apple device. Let's go take a look at what Matthew's shown us here. Oh, it looks like a, USB-C to Lightning cable for $29. And it seems to me like I did actually buy one of these for some reason. I don't know why, but don't think I have anything that needs that, but this looks so familiar. All right, how are we doing? Let's see, we're a little over 2 hours. I think it's about time to wind this down. Does anybody have any specific questions? And oh, you wanted me to do both of them.
Yes, please.
All right, it won't take long to do, right? Because we've already been down this road. Now, can I?
So, Doc, I put it in, yes?
Okay.
This is the video I mean.
All right,
you don't
here
have
it
any
is.
specific. You don't have any specific uses for either one of those routers that you're showing us today?
No, I don't have them earmarked for any particular use. I do want to explore a little bit with the add-ins because there's a couple of add-ins that I want to use on my client system. And also I may wind up using this one as my own VPN connection to that client's office, because my remote software, LogMe and Rescue, we're about to disallow that in order to bring this client's office up to tighter security levels. So they're not allowed to use LogMeIn anymore, and I'm not allowed to use LogMe and Rescue anymore. Nobody's allowed to use any remote access clients other than through either one of these devices configured as a VPN client, or using a VPN endpoint software, which we're probably not going to use much of. And then for me, although that was initially planned for me to make support connections to them, but I think I'd rather use one of these because that's just so much easier. It's
That was-
very quick. It's much more responsive than using any remote access software such as LogMeIn or LogMeIn Rescue or TeamViewer or whatever else is available.
Actually,
because
now,
you-
Doug,
Go
Doug,
ahead,
we're
Gary.
actually going one step farther. If somebody's not there, nobody's there. So we have 3 shifts.
If somebody's not there, nobody's there.
No, what I'm saying is, if you're not there in IT, somebody else is not getting on a machine. It's only somebody there.
Oh, so the only time somebody can access their on-site computers remotely is if there is an IT person there.
Yep.
Oh,
In other
that's
words,
interesting.
we're not allowing people to get in remotely that way. You
Yeah.
can still do your job remotely, but you can't control anything remotely.
Okay.
Yeah, you're coming in with a VPN for
okay.
a remote access.
All right. Now, actually, let me go show. Well, okay. So there's a couple things on my short agenda here. First, I'm going to go hit this YouTube link that Catherine's given us. So here's the. Yeah, this is the gentleman. Oh, I've seen him before. I've seen his videos before. Yeah, very
Yes.
good. Yeah,
He's
I like
very
it.
good explaining.
Yeah, I like his work, his manner, he is good at explaining.
Yes.
So that's a good one. And then I want to come back to this configuration screen. I want to tell you about the 2 add-ins that I'm interested in. I think it's let's see, more settings, no, applications, yeah, plugins. So let's go here to plugins. Here's an alphabetical list of the plugins. So right now, I think we're on A. We're seeing the beginning of the list. Whoops, no, it came up to B. So these are the Bs, and then the Cs, and then the Ds and Es. And what I was interested in was logging, because we're automatically, part of our requirement is to do logging for the office so that we can review and we can catch unusual internet activity. So when I search here for logging, log, and there was more when I haven't updated the firmware on this one yet. Maybe that's why I'm not seeing more choices. This package is not.
You should.
Maybe I what?
Maybe you should update the firmware so we can be up to date.
So you can see that operation. It doesn't take long, and that's one of the biggest holes, security holes in the internet right now, is people don't update their own routers. Even businesses that even have IT departments, it's known that they're not updating their routers because the router manufacturers are able to identify that, and there's a lot of security vulnerabilities that exist just because of unpatched routers. But anyway, after here was a plugin for, I called it add-in earlier, they call it plugins. I wanted a plug-in for logging, and I want a plug-in for ad blocking, and it is available. So I want to experiment with it on my own before implementing it for my client. So then for right here, there's the link for upgrade. So I'll click on that. There's an online upgrade, and right here is download. And then there's also an auto upgrade. I'm going to first go to this download. Now, local upgrade would be if I've already downloaded the update file, and I haven't. So I'll click download, showing percentages of downloading that update. And that is completed. Now it says verifying. And then it scrolls down and shows me all of this stuff about this update. Now I found it a little bit tricky here because it actually has not installed the update yet. And because it scrolled down this screen, a person could assume, and because we already saw that completed message, you could assume that it is installed. But up here, there's this install button that we have yet to click on. So here's a click on install. And that's going to take a while for it to run. In the meantime, let's start connecting this other router. It's got a rubber band around the power. and it's a USB charging connection. I have an AC adapter on the other side of this desk plugged into the power strip. Oh, I guess that camera points the other way, doesn't it? Oh, I just realized a problem. What is the problem with connecting to this other device?
They both have the same IP address range.
I think it's more about the same SSID, possibly. So I'm looking at the label on the back of them to see if they are the same. I'm guessing they probably are different. SSID on this one and SSID on this one. Yeah, they're different because remember it included the model number.
Mm-hmm.
So they are different.
My the little travel routers I got have the default SSID as the manufacturer of the device, followed by like the last 4 or 5 digits of the serial number. So every SSID and password is different.
Yeah, that would be a little more costly as far as them having to assign a different SSID to each one, although you'll automate that process as part of your firmware upload for them, I suppose. This does that SSID. I don't think that's unique to the serial number of it. Now, I want to let this one finish doing its update because I'm going to need to change my Wi-Fi connection. So if I break that Wi-Fi connection now, we're not going to see this update complete. While we're waiting then, I'm going to tell you a little story about last night's episode or experience. My brother and sister-in-law had purchased this dual band Wi-Fi repeater for their home, and they've had a long-running difficulty with Wi-Fi in their house. And this, I don't know who recommended it, but they had trouble configuring it. And they've done some configuration of stuff before, particularly she has, and has figured things out. But she couldn't figure this one out. So I went over last night. They fed me pulled pork. And
Nice.
Yeah, it was good. It was awesome that she did herself. She did it in a crock pot overnight, and it was absolutely good. She showed me what it's as a seasoning juice that she uses. Oh, it was just awesome. And rice, yeah, pulled pork and rice. So they fed me. So that's the one of the number one barter things for technicians, right?
Right.
So anyway, I went through these and could not these instructions and could not get it to work. And I actually have photos of these panels, and some of these the writing gets really tiny. So I borrowed a magnifying glass that they had, and still it's too tiny. So I took a picture with my phone and zoomed in on it. And it simply did not follow the instructions at all. The SSID that they say to expect came up different. I connected to that, and I was never able to get to their their default IP address using their instructions. Now, their instructions was all by using cell phone, connecting by Wi-Fi from a cell phone to it.
I hate that.
Yeah, so that did not go well. So then what I did is I noticed that it had a couple of Ethernet ports on it. Now this is not the device, but I do have photos of it. We might wind up pulling the photos up, but so I connected my laptop to it, and I configured a static IP address on the laptop that was compatible with the expected IP address. Then I was able to put in the device's IP address into a browser, and boom, came right up to the configuration page. And
I knew exactly where you was going with that.
Yeah, I was pretty sure you would. I just configured it as, what I know about networking configuration, and the instructions were worthless. Now they were surprised at that because they said it had like 1,200 positive reviews from people. But yeah.
Hey, Doug, this
Yeah.
might seem real simple, but did you think to go online and look up a PDF of the instructions?
We did not. We did not, but that's a good suggestion. I still would have opted for just connecting it by an Ethernet cable, because that was just a nothing burger if you've been down this road a few times. All right, where are we at? Oh, that's not good. Over here, I got router connection lost. Oh, yeah, of course, because it installed a firmware update. It's rebooting. I don't think it warned us about that. You need to reconnect to your router, further configure your router admin panel, and visit that IP address. So I'll click OK. Now I'm also going to have to reconnect to the Wi-Fi of the device. Let's turn off the picture-in-picture. Go back into here. Click on Wi-Fi. Show available networks. Here's the 5G version of it. And here's the 2.4 version. And here's this 300. That's the little one. That's baby router. All right. In the vein of Big Beast Build and Baby Beast Build. Let's go for the 2.4 connect. And then Good Life. You want your PC to be discoverable? Yes. Which I happen to know is not necessary for this. And many of you realize that already. Some of you realize that already.
Hey, Josh, I have a question.
Yes, Josh.
If you're not using Log Me and Rescue, then how are you going to remote into my computer if I ever need to?
Oh, I'll still have Log Me and Rescue. I just won't be able to use it for that client.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not letting go of that anytime soon. I'd have to have all of my clients switched over to it before I would no longer be able to justify the cost. Well, at least my big clients, I would have to have switched over to that to VPNs. So yeah, and we're still good for that. So then here's the admin password. Oh no, I forgot what my password is. Well, I wrote it down. Oh, now I have an eyeball. I couldn't do an eyeball when I was typing it in. So there's the eyeball. If anyone, there's the password. If anyone wants to try to hack into this, you first have to discover my
Oh, I don't do that.
my WAN IP address, and that's not going to happen. So I did it wrong. Some of you might know what I did wrong. You were paying attention because I said capital G and capital L. I didn't type it in with a capital L. Log in. And again, if somebody drops in on this, watching this video without seeing the previous, this device is never going to be exposed. And if I wind up using it, it'll be a different password than that as well. So let's go take a look at upgrade. Current version is 3.211, last update 3.211. I didn't point out what the current version was before we did that update. You could go back on the video if you want to see it, but I'm sure it was the same earlier version that was on my client's device. Then go over here to auto upgrade, and it's by default showing 4 a.m., but this switch is not turned on. So I have to turn on this switch to get it to automatically upgrade 4 a.m. every day. All right, that's enough for this one. And now we'll go connect to the other one. We'll go to disconnect from this Wi-Fi signal. That's the 1300. And then look for the 300. Here's the GL AR300M. It also has only 1 bar of signal strength, but when, oh, I'm sorry. No, when what I was doing for my brother and his wife last night, it was not one of these devices. It was that device that I showed you, the box that they had purchased. And it worked really well. They were able to connect all the way at the edge of the house. And she went to the edge of the house where she usually plays her game on her cell phone and has never got good connections. And we heard her scream from through the house. It's so fast. It worked really well.
Yeah.
Where did you place the repeater? Like right in between their main Wi-Fi hotspot and.
At the time that she discovered that, we were in the kitchen, which was only 15 feet away from their ISP router. But it was a more perpendicular signal going through the walls to where she was at, because the ISP router, being a little bit offset, was going through multiple walls at an angle. So from the kitchen, she got a great signal. And then we actually plugged it into a wall outlet that was in the hallway that was really at the middle point between the ISP router and the back of the house. We didn't need to put it in the hallway, but that was a convenient place. 5 dogs all had to check it out. I'm just hoping they won't pee on it.
Yeah, you may want to put it up.
Yeah.
Only time will tell.
It's not really a risk because they are very, very well housebroken, and they have a doggy door, so they never have accidents in the house. And you don't have an accident on a wall outlet. That would be intentional. If a dog were to do that.
You never know, because
It would be shocking.
Yeah, it would.
dogs, they can be a bit stupid, yes, and they don't know about electricity and these things.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dogs can be a little bit stupid too. Exampled by the fact that Jim said it could be shocking, and I responded yes before I got his joke.
Gotta be quick. Gotta be on it.
That's not me. I'm a Doug. All right, so have I connected to that other one yet? Where am I at? Oh, the 300's not here anymore.
No,
Yeah, I got distracted down the rabbit hole with not bunny, rabbit, squirrel. Ugh, squirrel. Word is squirrel, not rabbit, not bunny. Yeah, I ran off into that about the signal strength. So why am I not getting that signal? Well, I have these 2 devices right next to each other. That could be a confusion. They might be using the same channel. I could unplug the 1300 unit, but right now I just tried moving them around. Looks like we got Josh joining the party. No, I'm not Josh. Sam.
Hello.
Hello, Sam.
Hello.
Hi, Sam.
Hi.
All right, I'm still not getting connection to this guy. Why? And it looks like I have lost the chat room. Let me go figure out where that went. How did I lose the chat room? All right, so let's go back to the popped out video, and there's chat back joined in with the video. So I guess I can show this. So I have this tab as a separate Google Chrome window, separate from my other Google Chrome that's back here in the background, so that I can be able to see that the video is still running. Then I'll pop out chat. That puts it in a separate window. Make it big, but not all the way to the edge because I want the video to be visible off here on the side. So I can see the video running in the background there. And if things go quiet, I can look over there and see whether it's still running or not. Where do I go back up here? Method to see invisible string. Aljays. Thank you for the cool live stream. I love it. Keep up the good work. You know what? I'm gonna do something on pronouncing your name. George says, "Hi Doug, question for you. Today when I try to use Windows Quick Assist, I get a message that the service is not working right now. Anyone else experiencing this?" Windows Quick Assist. Yeah, I'm not. What is that?
Yeah, that's my first question.
Jim,
What the
I
heck
see.
is that?
Yeah, your face looks puzzled too.
Isn't that
Anybody else?
Microsoft? Isn't that Microsoft Helps program? If you contact Microsoft,
Yes.
they to chat with you.
Oh, is
Never
that
Not
heard of
what it is?
that.
Microsoft, but anybody. You know, when you go to the advanced settings under like the advanced settings to where you enable remote desktop on this computer, Doug,
Yes.
it's the remote assistance thing he's referring to is on the top where you can allow remote assistance to this computer. That uses the quick assist.
Okay, so where do I go to get to that? Is that system?
Yes.
You said where? Oh, remote desktop, probably. This is where you enable remote desktop, and there's something in here for Windows Quick Assist.
No, I'm talking about the old fashioned
Oh,
not
in an old interface,
yes.
like through Control Panel.
Yes.
All right, so Windows key.
Go over there on the
Control.
right hand side and click on rename this PC.
All right. Yeah. And then remote.
Yes.
What happens if I enable remote assistance? Oh, you think that's what he's
Yes.
asking about?
Yes. Yes.
When it's not the same name, he said Windows Quick Assist. This would be enabling remote assistance so that somebody can connect to your computer and help you. Somebody that you are inviting. That didn't sound to me like the same thing that my impression from his chat message. Right. So George, maybe you can elaborate a little bit more. Let's see. Here's Ida. I have to run. My husband having a computer middle-age crisis. Have to clone his computer stat. See you later or next time. Okay, Ida. See you next time. Computer middle-age crisis. There's got to be a good joke twist in there somewhere. Jim?
Not me. I got nothing for that one.
You got nothing for that.
The computer
Dan
wants a
and-
sports car?
Oh, sports car. Maybe that's what yeah, computerized.
Reminds me of an Elaine Boozler joke, but I can't say it.
All right. So then Dan the Man, just search Quick Assist. So I'll try that in a moment. Start menu. Okay, that makes sense. And then Sam Lazar, I think, is giving us a link there. But let me first try Windows key Quick Assist. There we go. There's an app called Quick Assist. All right. Code from Assistant. Microsoft Quick Assist enables two people to share a computer over a remote connection so that one person can help solve problems on the other person's computer. So this sounds like instead of TeamViewer or instead of Log Me In. So you're going to give assistance to another person. So you have to have two people participate in this.
It may not be very secure.
May not be very secure, agree. But neither is the free version of TeamViewer. Now, so let's see. Going back to his question, from George. When I try to use Windows Quick Assist, I get a message the service is not working right now. Oh, well, let me go try using it.
Maybe the quick assist service on his PC is not enabled in the services.
Yeah, I get the impression that he's experienced it using it. I guess the only way that I can do this is to do a code with somebody. And that means putting out that code over this YouTube video. I'm not willing to do that.
Yeah, that's not a good idea.
Oh,
Yeah.
not
So
advisable.
if I click assist another person, I'm just trying to see how far I can get to see
You do
if
that.
the
You
system
do
is
that. It
working.
makes you're going to sign in with a Microsoft account.
Right, which I already do, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go that far in exploring this.
Now that explains why I never used this function, because Microsoft account. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Well, I use Microsoft accounts, but I don't think I would use that function. I trust Log Me and Rescue more than I do that.
Can I ask Jim a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Would you go to Linux before they force you to have a Microsoft account? I'm just curious.
Probably.
Okay, fair enough.
Oh, for Jim, yeah.
Yeah,
And how
for
would you
most
send-
for most of what I do on the web, which is either watch YouTube or stream, I can do that. OBS is available for Linux. I do email, browse the web. I mean, I don't do a whole lot more than your quote unquote normal user does. The only thing that I would keep anything around for from Microsoft is gaming, and that's just about it.
So how do you tell it the multi-thousand users?
How do I what?
We have multi-thousand users.
He's not proposing that you should do that in your office, Gary.
I understand. I'm
talking
just
about him.
saying Microsoft is not going to waste. They'll always be the biggest player in town.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean I have to play their game.
Yeah.
I'm a person. I don't have to play their game. You as a corporation, you don't have much of a choice.
There are corporations.
Yeah,
Corporation is different than
No,
one
but what I'm saying is most everything is going to be designed for the Windows user or the Microsoft 365 user. It's not going to be designed for the Linux user in the corner. That's all I was saying.
Yeah. All right. That's fine. That doesn't cause Jim any grief whatsoever.
No,
No,
that's like apples and pomegranates.
Yeah.
I mean, most software being written for companies is actually being used remotely with Edge, not even supporting Google. So if Google deviates just this little bit, it's not happening.
Yeah. Still doesn't impact what Jim uses.
Nope.
So
No, but
Jim's never going to be able to use Microsoft Teams. He doesn't care.
No,
Teams is awful.
That's like this whole thing with Windows 11. I'm seeing a trend here where I suspect I have no inside information. I'm making this up as I go along, but I suspect at some point Microsoft is going to make more OS features exclusively available only if you have a Microsoft account. And once that happens, then that's bye-bye.
Well, if it excludes you from something you want,
yeah,
they can do that. They can do that to their heart's content as long as you're still able to do what you want to do.
Right.
Without getting personal, I had a banker's meeting with my wife and I and our banker this week, and it was on Teams.
Yeah.
And I was talking to him outside of our personal stuff, and I said, because he just bought a new house, and I said, "So how are you guys doing your interviews?" Team. So if you need to get your loan, he's not seeing you in the office. He's seeing you on Teams.
Yeah.
That'll
And if
change.
you can't do Teams, the next guy can. We were just talking about it. It has nothing to do with Jeff.
Yeah.
Just
No. You can get Teams on Linux. You can actually get Teams on Linux because I used to use on a spare computer a Ubuntu-based distro, and that can get Teams.
And you can actually use Teams without being signed into Microsoft.
definitely. And
So
actually, Zoom is trying to get into Teams, but as soon as Zoom can talk to Teams, this I know nothing about, I'll let your Teams change.
Yeah. Now
that wouldn't be the first time that happened.
I was probably premature in saying that Jim wouldn't be able to use Teams. He actually could because you can use it without a Microsoft account.
Definitely.
In some fashions. And now, yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I'm sorry, the widgets function that's in Windows 11, which is the
Yeah.
Windows 10 version. It's the news and interest thing that's on Windows 10 currently. The
Yeah.
widgets function doesn't work without a Microsoft account. So actually, when I go to 11, I'll have less functionality.
It's awful anyways. If you ever listen to Windows Weekly, Paul Thurrott's always talking about it's just like swimsuit pictures on the widgets or something. So no, you just disable that anyways.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Bill Gates' new girlfriend. That's all.
Yeah. Kerry Holzman yesterday when he was configuring that tiny little computer, whatever that was, I was surprised at how it looked like it was back to the older days about skipping a Microsoft account. It was Windows 11 Pro, and it got to, he didn't connect to the internet, came to a prompt to connect to the internet. He clicked, I don't have internet. And it asked for a username. He put in a username and a password. He didn't get any extra objections to not creating a Microsoft account. Now that looked like Windows 11 backstepping a bit from what they've been doing for, I know that you could get around not having a Microsoft account with Windows 11 Pro, but I thought that I saw that somewhere along the line that you had to say something about it not going to be used on a corporate network or something like that, or going to be used in a corporate network.
No, actually, you're right, Doug. It's coming out. What's today? March. It'll be either April. I've been told April.
It's in their insider preview. They're testing that feature out.
No, but we're already getting it for we got it for the April download.
I thought Doug was referring to the feature where
you have to have,
even if you have Pro, you're going to have
right.
You're not going to be able to skip that.
We're a company. We get all the updates before they come out, and that's one of the updates is there. Now, if you're attached to your domain, you don't need to be Pro. Excuse me, you don't need to have the Microsoft account if you're attached to the domain when you upgrade. So that's how they're getting around it, Doug.
If you're what?
Attached to the domain.
But he wasn't.
I know, but it's not official. April is when you're going to do that update. Do you have to have an account if you don't have a domain? I'm Pro.
Okay. Well, did you see his show yesterday? That part of
yes. And
okay.
After the April Tuesday update, that's when you'll have to have the account officially. And yes, I saw this update. It doesn't need it. If you do a Pro right now, it will ask you for it, but you don't need it. What he did is what you'll get. What you or I will do if you do it at home.
Okay, let's move. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Catherine, you were trying to make a comment there. Have we covered your comment already?
No, I said maybe the angry admin mob rose, and Microsoft saw the light, but I doubt it. Because sometimes when people they're angry enough, they change it back.
Oh well, yeah, that's exactly what I thought I was seeing. I thought I was seeing this was a pre-installed Windows 11 that he bought from a, that came that way from the manufacturer, and it looked like an easier process than what I'd seen before for Windows 11 Pro. Let's move on. Where do we got? Do I have anything to catch up here? So the quick assist, we went far enough on that. Let's see, did he come in with anything more? That was George. Oh yes, use it often. Nothing there. Oh yeah, so he was saying that yes, he uses that often, so he's familiar with how the quick assist works. So he's just saying that it was slow. So George, I guess we were answering no, we don't. We aren't able to confirm that. Apparently nobody else here is using it. Quick assist searchable. So we did that. We did that. Chris says his laptop battery died as he was plugging it in. Andre, Zoom code. Yeah, Andre, I don't know you. I don't recognize your name. Does anybody in Zoom recognize Andre?
Nope.
No.
Now, okay, so Andre, here's another thought that I had since last week. We need to get to know you a little bit in chat before you can come into Zoom, because we've had troublemakers come into Zoom before. Another option to get around that is you could send me an email. I might do a one-on-one Zoom with you to meet you and find out what you're up to before letting you come in during a live stream. And the email address for that is, come over here, DougBetts@LiveWindowsTraining.com. So you'd have to come in with me with your camera on, and so I can get to know you before you can come into a live stream that way. Then coming back to chat. Solve PC problems over remote connection. So that would be about that quick assist. Sam at Andre 1239. What's this from Sam? What are you saying? What are you calling Andre there?
Email Doug and he might give you the link.
Not at that address.
Okay.
Nobody should be using that address to get to me. That is my address, but you won't get noticed if you send me an email to that. That's where all my junk mail comes to.
Okay, that explains.
So DougBetts@LiveWindowsTraining.com is the way to get my attention. George, that's where the message appears after you enter your username. That's where the message appears after you enter your username. So I think what he's referring to there is his problem message, which would be up here. Today, when I use Windows Quick Assist, I get a message that the service is not working right now. Okay, well, I'll tell you what. I'll put in my address and take a look at that, but not do it on the live stream. I'll do it on a separate screen here during the live stream, but I'm not going to show it. That's where the message appears after you enter. Okay. And then, Sam, what are you giving us a link to there?
The very bottom?
Yeah, your last.
Oh, no, that's the last one's about an article about the European Union's new laws, how they're trying to force anti-competitism with lots of technology companies.
I think I heard anti-competitivism and technology companies. A lot of your other words I couldn't make out.
Correct. That's what you made out, and that's correct.
Okay. Then I'm going to go over here and bring Zoom back up, and then I'm going to do Quick Assist, and I'll put in my, let's see, assist from another person, which is where I need to put in my address. Next. We're sorry, but the Quick Assist service isn't working right now. Please try again later. So I can show that. So here's the message that came up after I put in my, I didn't have to put in my password because I'm already signed in to Microsoft. Don't hit me, Jim. We're sorry, but the Quick Assist isn't working right now. Please try again later. So yes, that's your answer, George. I am getting that same symptom. So I think that means it's not working right now.
Which means, assuming that goes through Microsoft, it must be a service that they were either having an issue with or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Something's going on. Maybe they got hacked. You heard it here first. All right. So we still haven't got connected to the little router. Let's come back to here, and I'll right click on the network icon in the notification area. Click on Wi-Fi, show available networks. There's the 1300, that's the big unit. So I still don't have the little one. So I'm going to unplug power from the 1300 model so that it goes away. And my experience has shown that it'll take a while before that drops off of this list. I'm going to go out of the list and come back into it. See, I can get it from here. See, it's 1300 is still showing, even though I unplugged it from power a while ago. I've seen that to be a consistent thing. It takes a while before this updates. Didn't mean to go this way again, but we'll do it. I guess that lists same way over here. So the 1300 is still visible. It is unplugged from power, and it's dark. There's no lights on it. And George says he has a person asking for help, remote help right now. So you could use TeamViewer, the free version, if you're really needing to get something working right now. It's pretty easy to get through. Apparently, I know you're a technician. I've seen you here enough, so I'm sure you could just go to teamviewer.com and figure your way around it. QA is a Quick Assist is a Windows 11 app, so what do you expect? Well, it's available on Windows 10, so it's not Windows 11 only. There's the 1300 still showing.
Doc?
Yeah, there it just one of them disappeared.
How much was the bigger router?
The bigger one?
Yes.
I'll come over here to the video and drag this over, scroll down.
$77.
Scroll down to the description of this video, and I put it in there as, oh, I put the links in. I didn't put the price. Oh, I know, I put the price on the thumbnail for this video. So
yeah, right now it's listing on Amazon $89.90. There's a 14% discount of some sort. So right now it's $77.
Yeah,
it can still work from anywhere. Yeah.
$27.90 for the little one. And back here to get to the big one. Whoops, I went to the same one again. To the top one. There it is, 76.90. Regularly $89.90. Okay.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. And bring the video back to my monitoring position. Move it over here before we get the picture-in-picture thing going on. Bring chat back on, and then left click on the network icon. There's the 300. It showed up. So it looks like once I got rid of the 1300 that the 300 came up. Password, good life. Just like that right there. Hello, Josh.
Hi, Jim. Hi, Alex. Hi, Doug. Hi, Pam.
Hi.
Allow your PC to be discoverable. Yes, which is not necessary for this. Cannot connect to this network. That failed.
Hi, Cliff.
Capital G, capital L again?
No, because this is the new router that I haven't configured a password for it yet. So this is just trying to connect to its Wi-Fi. Live, that is the 300. Click next. Do you want to allow? Yes. Checking network requirements. I keep forgetting. I can look towards this monitor and click on that one. So that way I'm not looking away from the camera. Checking network requirements. Okay, somebody's got to do the Jeopardy theme for me. There we go. No internet and secured. That's what we expect to see. Bring up a browser. Let's do, yeah, this way will be fine. Oh, Jose is back.
Yes, I'm back.
Hello,
Now with
Jose.
audio. Yeah, I was doing some fine tuning on my gear. So I finally have the audio And I wanted to do a audio check with you guys to see how I sound.
Sounds really
fine.
good.
Better than me.
Cool.
Yeah, it sounds a little hot. Like maybe you want to crank it down just a bit.
Okay, let's see. Okay, just a tap down.
There we go.
That's better.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Great, great.
Yeah, that's very good audio.
Yeah, the next time maybe when I come on to you this meeting, I will have the video on, fine tune and everything.
Good, great. I love for you to have your camera on. All right, and let's go back to this button. See where we're at. So I'll go to a new tab. Turn picture in picture on here. And that address, anybody have it memorized? The router address, their default router address?
Assuming they're the same, I thought it was 192.168.8.1.
That's right. 192.168.8.1. And my browser remembers that because I've typed that in recently. And hit enter. And it should go straight to the programming interface for that device, and will perhaps recognize that it's similar options available, or it might be less. Since it's such a cheaper device, maybe it's less capable. Maybe
Seems to be
it's
taking its bloody time.
It is. It is. We got a refresh indicator up here on the tab. I don't think we actually watched the connection taking place. I think I punched over to another screen for the other one. And I seem to think that it was when I connected to my client's router, it took a while for it to connect. Now, I had to connect remotely to a laptop computer that he had connected to an Ethernet cable, and then use the Wi-Fi on that laptop remotely to connect to the router and do the configuration. Once I did all the configuration for it, it already had its Ethernet cable connected to my client's internet service provider's router. So once I did all the configuration, I had to disable his Ethernet port remotely, so that I'd only be going through the Wi-Fi in order to test the VPN connection to his office. Because when his laptop was still connected through the Ethernet cable, I was unable to get the VPN connection to work, which is as it should be, because that would be a security hole.
At college, Doug, they actually had the for the regular student a Wi-Fi network they had that everybody else connected to in the whole college. They actually had VPN connections disallowed. So I was not able to test anybody's connection to our VPN on campus other than using somebody's mobile hotspot. I had to borrow if I wanted to test to see if somebody could connect using our VPN while I was at school. I would have to use somebody's mobile hotspot and connect the computer to their mobile hotspot because the school network disallowed VPN.
Got it. All right, let's give this another shot. 192.168.8.1. And I'm going to go see if the Wi-Fi is still connected. Yes, I can see it at the top, just above the picture-in-picture. There's the 300M. There's no internet and secured, so that is connected. Bring Zoom up on the screen as I open Microsoft Edge and move it over to that monitor. We'll try it in Edge. 192.168.8.1. Got a refresh circle up here. It says not secure. And got a white screen. Come on. Come on. All right, well, I'm going to punch back onto the Zoom window, and I got another task I want to do over here in the background. I just got a text message from Harry Holzman that he sent me the links that I requested. I asked him for his Amazon links for these routers. I'm going to go paste them into the description of this video. And if anybody uses those links to order those devices, then he gets his little commission from it.
Nice. In the US, not Australia.
That's right. That only works in the
Yeah.
US.
Yeah.
Which actually, so Sam, if you click on those links from Australia, those devices come up with the whatever Amazon site you need for Australia, right?
No, I think it does US, but then it tells you you must switch to Australia. And when I switch to Australia, then I get redirected to local and not Kerry.
All right.
Hey, Doug.
Yes.
If you would get an Amazon account like that, you could put one of your Dougs in another country, and he can make commission.
There you go. I like that. I could have Doug's in all the different countries we need to cover all the Amazons. All right. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch up the YouTube live stream. Somebody's got some odd sound going on in the background, like a vacuum cleaner or something. If you know it's you, then please unmute your audio for a bit. So then I come up here to this edit button. Come in here to the description of this video. And
bye-bye. Oh, hands again.
Come into here. Was it Josh's audio?
No, the fans are not coming from Josh. They're coming from, I think, Jose. I'm not sure.
Oh, it's me. Let me mute my mic here. Sorry about that if it's me.
All right. Just punch in anytime you need to, Jose. So then here I'll do, oops, you know what? I'm going to take this off screen because I'm going to bring up my clipboard buffer. Just want to make sure I don't have anything that I don't want put out there visible. Yeah, let's not. I'll just go ahead and put those into the description.
Thanks for your help, Alec.
You're welcome.
All right. So here's the new links for Kerry. They're always shorter links, of course, because he's somehow when he provides a link, it does that shorter link than when I just copy the URL. So then save that. So now you won't see that updated in the description of this video until you refresh your browser. Bring back my standard screens over here and chat. All right, then there's the link that Sam gave us. And then George, thanks, Doug, for confirming that message. You're welcome. George, I use TeamViewer until they flag me as not for personal use. as when they flagged me as not for person. Yeah. So, but if when you read their licensing terms, they want people to use it for free if they're providing free support, like to friends and relatives. But if you're doing it for your business purposes and you're charging, then you're in violation of their terms. And I've come across people who have communicated with TeamViewer. Who, let's see. Okay, Gary, I just muted you there with some sound coming through. You can unmute yourself when you choose to. So what was I saying? Yeah, so they've communicated with TeamViewer and said, hey, this is personal use. I'm helping people. It's not for business use. It's not for commercial use. And they have green lighted their usage. So you can, they will respond to that.
Yes, you have to open a ticket.
All right.
To do that.
All right. So that.
But then the question comes up: how do they know if you're telling the truth or not?
Well, they don't, and they may investigate you closer. Their licensing terms for the free version allows them to look at what you're doing to evaluate whether you're actually using this for work. So that's the free version of TeamViewer is not as private or secure. But if you're actually providing, free support for friends and relatives, you should be okay with that.
Look.
Yes.
They can look all I want because you know what? I've got nothing to hide.
That's it exactly. The people that are trying to use it for purposes within their terms, I don't think should be worried about what they might look at. And I promise you, they don't have employees who are fascinated with watching what you're doing.
No, basically, no. I doubt it because it's so boring. It's so boring.
It'd be very rare that they would actually be looking at what you're doing.
Yes, and if they do, it's no longer them. It's probably the national, what is it called?
NSA.
No, it's not the NSA because it's Germany. The LKA, Landeskriminalamt, or Bundespolizei.
I'm not even going to try to repeat those.
No, don't, because it's German. It means
German was the only foreign language I ever studied in school. Now, what I mean by that, I had 1 quarter. I don't think it was even a full semester. I think it was 1 quarter when I was in the 6th grade.
Okay. Yeah. And how much do you remember so far?
Very little. Very little.
Gute Nacht.
Yeah, guten Abend, gute Nacht. I don't think I would have come up with those if you hadn't said them. All right, so moving on. Do I have any more here? Use TeamViewer until they feel like me. Yeah, we saw that. Nothing else in orange. Try to use free remote desktop. This is some other remote desktop. Oh, that's from Javi. And NSA. All right. How are we doing with connecting to this device? It still shows connected through the Wi-Fi. Let's switch over to this. No, not that one. You can chat back up. It's this one. And then here. No, here, this end one. It never did connect and doesn't have a refreshing anymore. So next I want to power cycle it.
My computer actually has 2 Ethernet ports. So if I was connected over Ethernet to a live internet connection and I wanted to configure something like this, I wouldn't have to disconnect. I wouldn't have to connect it to Wi-Fi if it had an Ethernet port. I could just connect to my other Ethernet port.
Yeah, that's good. So I don't have this device connected to my ISP at all yet. And I don't want to connect anything to the LAN port, so I'm just going to unplug the power from it and plug it back in. I'll wait a little bit. How about we wait until it's no longer listed as a Wi-Fi device? Oh, it's gone. It went away quick.
You put it in the different mode.
In a what?
So it has a mode button on the router that you can press to give you different modes. In
Oh,
the
a
router.
different mode. Yeah.
Like
I
for
think I
access
sh-
point, router, bridge, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I'm just going to go ahead and switch it. Because it doesn't tell me on it which direction is what for router or bridge mode. It's probably here somewhere in the instructions, but
Yeah.
I haven't looked at that yet. Now we want to see it come back up as a Wi-Fi. Looking for the 300 to come up. While we're waiting for that, I've got to find the correct instructions. That was the one that had the larger manual. Where is it?
Smaller router had the larger manual.
Smaller router had the larger manual. Yep. So here's the mode switch. There's the mode switch here. Got to be something here that tells me which direction to put the switch. Scanning through the pages, looking for something that gives more detail about that switch. I'd expect it to show a close-up image of the switch. Yes. Here on this last page, so there's showing it to the left and showing it to the right. So showing it to the left would be this column. Showing to the right would be this column. D to the left is no function, no, and the right is no function, mode switch. But router mode is to the left, bridge mode is to the right. So it was originally in router mode, and I have changed it to bridge mode. I would think either mode, I should be able to get to the programming interface for it.
No,
And
I
then-
don't think so.
No.
Oh, I see what they're doing here. This switch is programmable so that you can program whether you want it to be controlling the mode switch or the VPN toggle. And the default line here says that there's no function. So that implies to me that moving the switch has no effect whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And that would explain why it's not labeled, because it's programmable. Here's the 300 available again. Right here. I'm going to take off the connect automatically. I'm just thinking about arguments for and against turning that off. And I've got a couple Dougs arguing the subject on my shoulders right now. Secured. Secured and can't connect to this network, but we've
You've
seen
got
that
other
before.
Wi-Fi networks like in the same area, and you need to be connected for it to just for testing. And but you want it to be able to, you don't want it to connect to those, but you want it to be able to connect to your main network all the time. Then that would be an argument not to have that automatically connect check.
Yeah. And I did, when I was doing the one for my client, I turned off his automatically connect to his local Wi-Fi, because that caused me a problem as I was working on it, where it jumped over to the Wi-Fi for his home. And I was no longer connected to the Wi-Fi for the device and didn't realize it. So I turned off the auto reconnect for my client's computer. Now, my computer, Big Beast Build, doesn't have any Wi-Fi auto connect set up because I don't think I've ever connected it to my Wi-Fi. So coming back here, and let's try. Oh, I have seen this before where I was able to ping the router but not connect to it. So let's try ping 192.168.8.1. And then also we could do IP config to see if my computer has received an IP address. If it can't ping it, then it's not going to successfully browse to it. So that's failing. I'm going to Control-C to break out of that because I'm impatient. IP config, enter, and we've got LAN adapters, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi adapter disconnected. So it's not showing any Wi-Fi connection. So let's come back and try again to connect to it. Now, connecting automatically, an argument for putting that check mark would be if I'm having flaky experience with this Wi-Fi and I put that check mark on, it would continue to retry it when it loses the connection. So that's still failing. Oh, here we go. This might be something. Let me show you this. See a red light. There's 2 green lights and 1 red light on this device.
Yes.
They're not labeled. Take a look at the manual and what it tells me about that. I mean, that could be expected since I don't have any WAN connection. That might be just telling me there's no WAN connection. Scanning through, so yeah, here's the lights on the top, and here's an identification of the lights. So one is for wireless, one is for configurable, and one is for power. So the one that's red right now is for wireless. The middle one is to indicate that it's configurable. The wireless just blinked as I was holding that to the camera. And then the green that you see on the right-hand side is for power. So we've got the red one for wireless occasionally blinking. Back over here to try to connect to it. And we're only getting one of the wireless. Well, no, this device I think only has one wireless channel. I don't think it has both channels. Now, as that
Some newer devices only have 5 gigahertz.
Yep.
Not
Like my
2.4.
Wi-Fi.
Like our security system, it connects over Wi-Fi to the internet, but it only has 5 gigahertz. So if you don't have a 5 gigahertz router, you're out of luck.
All right, I'm going to try checking IP config again, see if I got a address, and I only have one Wi-Fi adapter showing. Media disconnected. It's pointless to try to browse to it again. If I'm not getting an IP address, I'm not getting IP. Okay, reset button. That's the next thing I could do. Is factory reset. Let's see.
Yep.
Here. So here's a reset button. Now I'm gonna hold it down and watch the lights. Got a blinking middle light right away. That was the configurable. And then the blinking frequency has changed a couple of times. And it could be that that flash blinking is when it's okay to let go of the reset button. Oh, now I got something going with the Wi-Fi. Now the configurable light went off. Now I'm letting go of the button because that felt like a logical reset pattern. And I was about 10 seconds on the button. So we got 2 solid greens and a red. Usually would take a little bit before it's communicating or offering its SSID. It's possible this SSID was from before the reset because this doesn't refresh very promptly. I'm going to go ahead and try connecting to it. And if that doesn't work, I'm ready to wrap up this live stream. Oh, going on 3.5 hours. Who knew it?
I think we lost Gary.
You all did, but I didn't.
We are happy that it's 3.5 hours.
Say again, Catherine.
We are happy that it's 3.5 hours.
You're happy with that. But it looks like that. It looks like it worked. I got 5 bars there.
Oh, good.
Oh,
That
excellent.
5,
Full connection.
4
It's
bars.
the strongest.
Yeah, it's a really strong connection. So that factory reset really helped. Now I could go browse straight to that, but I want to see that it's assigned me an IP address. But it hasn't. Let's see, LAN, adapter, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi here. Scroll up a bit. It has not assigned me a Wi-Fi address.
I pick config space / renew.
All right, I'll buy that. I would have thought connecting to the Wi-Fi should have done that automatically, but we'll try that. No. Let's see if it still claims to be connected. Nope. Oh, it switched over to my Wi-Fi. So it did connect. So I'm going to go over here to Wi-Fi, manage no networks, and come to my Wi-Fi here, properties, and turn off this automatically connect when in range. I'm surprised to see that. I didn't recollect having done that. And then where's my other one? This one. Properties, and turn off the automatically reconnect when in range. Maybe that was causing us trouble before. I don't know. We never saw it connected to my Wi-Fi.
Or I assume that's a desktop computer. For that being a desktop computer, there's sure a lot of Wi-Fi connections in that list.
Well, that's because of my neighborhood.
I'm talking about in your known networks.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is the Big Beast build, so it hasn't traveled. Let's go see what was in this known networks. That's all believable. But this one and this one, those are client offices. This computer has never
Is your computer signed in with the Microsoft account?
Yes.
It's possible that there's some setting. I don't use it, so I'm really not up 100% on it. But it's possible that Microsoft could have synced your Wi-Fi name and passwords from your account to the computer when you log into your Microsoft account.
That I'm actually more inclined to think that it might be Apple with my iPhone account, or because I just got a new phone and it transferred all of my known Wi-Fi networks, and my phone doesn't sign in with a Microsoft. Well, I do use it for Office 365, but I'm thinking this may have come from Apple, because do I have? Yeah, I have. I'm sure I've signed into my. I don't know. There's some connection through there somehow.
Because my computer has never moved and it only knows one Wi-Fi connection. That's the one I'm connected to.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, something going on like that. I didn't realize that was even a thing. All right, let's go try again, connecting to the 300. And I'm going to go ahead and do connect automatically. Now, I have never looked into this, but this name up here is the Ethernet that I'm connected to, and it's using the SSID name for my Wi-Fi. And I've seen that many times where an Ethernet connection to a local network will display as the Wi-Fi SSID, even though it's not going through Wi-Fi.
Yep.
I'm guessing that if I were to go into the router and specifically name the Ethernet network differently, that I would then be able to get rid of that symptom.
Maybe.
Yeah. So here it looks like it's connected again.
I think that is because you're connected to Wi-Fi and Ethernet simultaneously.
No, because I've had plenty of times when I've used devices that have never been connected to the Wi-Fi, and it's showing up that way. I think it's coming through the Ethernet. Here's the wireless LAN adapter showing the .8 network, so we're looking good now. Cooking with oil. I'm going to do a refresh on that. Okay, got a refresh circle going on over here. Let's see if we've got something different on lights. We still have got 2 greens and a blinking red, occasionally blinking red. Now it's
This is the
solid.
kind of stuff you troubleshoot and it ends up taking all day when you think it's going to only take a minute.
That's right. Yeah, welcome to our world. We all know that.
Doc, once you know, if you know what I mean, then you don't forget it.
Yeah, when you go back retrying this over and over, you really do hammer in that process. Is it still connected? Yes. If we did not have an IP address assigned and I was confident that I am connected to the Wi-Fi, another thing that I've done sometimes is to assign a static IP address to the wireless adapter. And that's, no, that's not what I did last night for my brothers, but I have used that technique on occasion. When the wireless router appeared to have a problem with its DHCP function, that's when I found that to be useful.
Do you have multiple Ethernet ports on your computer? Or do you have a USB Ethernet adapter you could connect over Ethernet?
Are you referring to this device or what the story that I was just telling?
I was referring to your computer you're on now.
The computer I'm on now is the Big Beast build. I don't think it has a second Ethernet port, but I could be wrong on that. In fact, I'm kind of thinking it does. Well, actually, it should show up here in IP config if it has a second port. Scroll up here to the top. Yeah, it looks like it does have 2 Ethernet adapters. This one at the top.
590. Yeah.
Catherine, are you talking to us?
No, I was talking to myself. I just thought about the board that you have, and because you have like a 590 or 490 board, that's the higher class, and it's likely that it has 2 Ethernet.
Okay. So I'm going to try pinging 192.168.1.8. We have that level of communication with the router. We do not. Oh, I typed it
Yeah.
wrong. I typed it wrong. Did anybody catch that?
No.
No, no,
Yeah.
it's so slow. I cannot.
I did, yeah. I did a ping to 192.168.1.8. I got the numbers backwards. It's ping 192.168.8.1.
Oh. Ooh.
Right?
Wrong subnet.
And it failed once and it succeeded 3 times.
Good.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
Oh, there it is. There it is. It just came up. Pinging was enough to wake it up. That's a sensible thing, isn't it? You want to wake somebody up, you ping them. Just right on the
Yes.
shoulder with a
Mhm.
finger
Or
fire.
you just send
I'm
them a-
not going to go there. I'm going to
or
leave
just
that
send
one
a
alone.
message at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I guess if I had the mind of Jim, I wouldn't have brought that one up, huh? All right.
Most people don't have the mind of Jim. Trust me.
Thank you.
Doc,
Yes, Catherine.
you may not want to poke or ping a bear, if you know what I mean.
All right. All right. Here we go. Let's go poke a little bit further into this router. Clicking next. New password. Okay, I'm going to use the same password. And it gives me a green check mark. And but I don't get to see it. So this is where I've used this technique because I'm uneasy about not seeing what I type because I've had keyboards that were faulty. So I'm going to type it down here. GLI good times 22. And then Control A to highlight that, Control C to copy, and I'll go paste in here, and then Control V to paste that. So I got 2 green check marks. They meet the requirements and they match each other.
If you have 2 keyboard settings that are for different languages, this can happen too. When you by mistake change the language setting, because not all the things are in the same space on every keyboard. They're not on the same key, if you know what I mean.
Makes sense. Waiting for this welcome screen to come up. Now I'm guessing that this smaller, less expensive router has a lower capability processor in it. So part of the reason for it being slow, perhaps.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock.
Or maybe there's always the ability that you lost your connection.
Yeah, there is, but I did not. Here it is. So this looks like maybe there's 1 or 2 fewer options in here. There is VPN, which actually I was expecting to be VPN, and more settings. Those look like same range of settings. Applications, plugins, file sharing, remote access. Does this have a micro SD card slot? No, it does not. What I think this is, I think it's the same operating system. It looks like identically the same version of the same operating system. So it would have the same things. So then here's wireless. I clicked on wireless.
And the
Waiting
firmware is updated.
Pardon?
The firmware, is it updated?
I'm sure it's not because this is just purchase. So, and this is the first connection. So I'm going to click on upgrade and see what the version numbers are. Now I have not connected it to the Ethernet cable yet to give it an internet connection. And I'm wondering if it might speed up a bit when I do that.
Yes.
See, it hasn't even gone to this upgrade panel. It's showing me this still is the internet panel, I think. Yeah, it is. This is, so I'm going to go ahead and connect it and we'll see what happens. I'm going to show you the lights as I do this. That red light was for the Wi-Fi. The middle green light, middle light, which is green, is for that it's configurable. And the light on the right was for power. Now this has a WAN label and a LAN label, so I'm going to plug it into WAN and see if we get an indication on lights. Yeah, we definitely got some flickering on lights, and let's go see what happens here. Yeah, it went to the upgrade panel, so apparently it responded to my click. It might have responded to my click before I plugged it in. I wasn't watching. Come up here to internet, still says no cable detected. Maybe it hasn't detected it yet. Using as WAN change. Oh, it looks like we could use that port for something different. Please remove the internet cable from the WAN port. Please confirm. Do you want to use the WAN port as LAN? I'm going to click no. So you could change that port to be a LAN port. No cable detected. Please plug in an internet cable. Oh, there it goes. This took a little while. Whoops, it went away. I wiggled the cable and it came up. I'm going to wiggle the cable again and see if that comes up.
Okay.
No. Disconnecting the Ethernet from the WAN port, plugging it back in.
Hit the cable option.
Say again?
Is there a little button next to the word cable you can press? That might work.
A button next to the word cable?
You know, like a little dot or something you can press. I see a little dot next to cable. Maybe you can click that.
It's connected now.
Okay, cool.
All right. So I don't know what was up with that. Then let's go look at the firmware. Online upgrade, current version, compile time, last update. And auto upgrade, online upgrade. There was auto upgrade. There was a button on this page to upgrade. Just got an error timeout message right up where my mouse arrow is. Last update unavailable. This is the screen that had the button for updating.
Refresh it.
All right. We'll refresh this page.
Maybe it looks out.
Got a refresh circle up here. Site can't be reached.
Oh.
So probably lost connection to, no, it still says connected.
Maybe it's lying.
Let's try another ping. That works. Oh, it just came up in the background.
It's slow, maybe.
Maybe it's that slow, or maybe it was going through some more initial startup processes or something.
Maybe.
Here's the current version of BIOS 3.203 and the last update 3.211. That's a strange wording. Last update, current version, that's the version currently installed. I would rather this say something like available update. I guess that means they're saying latest update available.
Yeah.
I think last update is not the best wording. Here it says available update. All right, clicking download. Well, I'm going to give that a minute to download and walk away for a moment. I'm hearing noises outside that are concerning me.
Hey, Jim. Would this work with my computer? Would I be able to plug it in?
Is it USB-C?
Yeah, I think it is. It's micro, I think.
Yeah. Then probably
You have
is.
I think there's a USB-C connection on the motherboard, so it would have to go in the back.
Hey,
Okay,
Jim,
thank you.
Jim, I don't know what you guys are talking about, but do you know what it is that he's trying to connect?
It's for an iPhone.
If it's an iPhone, it should be fine for charging or data. More data than charging, but yeah.
All right, everything's okay.
Hey, Doug,
Yes.
there's a new issue I just got from Microsoft today. Literally, I just opened it. It addresses an issue that might cause telemetry information for group policy references to stop being sent to Microsoft. That has been fixed. So if you tried to stop the telemetry data to go to Microsoft, they fixed that, so it'll keep going.
So if you try to prevent the telemetry from going to Microsoft, they have fixed that to prevent you from being able to block it?
Yes,
Oh, and they call that a
Oh.
fix.
that is a fix.
Well, to them, that's a fix.
It's in the gpoadmin.dll. I just thought you guys would get a kick out of it. I do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you knew a way around it, they fixed your way around it. They didn't say they
Yeah.
caught you. They said they fixed it so that it won't happen.
Yeah. From their point of view, it's something that was broken or a bug for them to not get telemetry. And
And
just because there's a variety of people who might watch the video. I'm going to give a brief explanation. Telemetry is information sent to Microsoft from your computer, from Windows, providing Microsoft information about how Windows is working on your computer or not working. And I've looked at the telemetry logs, and boy, there's a lot of stuff going frequently.
Yeah, it's more than you're turning off.
Yeah, it's and that's one of the things that I'm kind of curious about doing with this logging through the router is to capture all the stuff going to Microsoft. It's just a little bit here and here and here, but so often through the day it's
And then there's another one. I mean, there's 2 pages, but another one is recovery disks created by backup and restore Windows 7, which is a control panel.
All right, let me click the install button here, and then I'll.
That's no big deal. I mean, unless you use it.
Yeah, I didn't. I want to click the install button because I know this takes a little while. So this Windows 7 fix is what you're talking about, right?
Well, in control panel, there's a backup and restore at the top. It's Windows 7 version.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can still use it on Windows 10 and 11, but if I had to guess, it looks like they're getting rid of it.
Oh, okay. Control panel. I'm in there now, and you said it was backup and restore Windows 7. Oh, yes, right here.
Basically, Windows 7 version, so you can
Windows 7 version of that
Go
process.
to a category, go to a large icon view.
All right.
So, quote, there is problems with that now.
Yeah.
Which leads me to believe they're programming and didn't like what they got. That's been around forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's problems with it.
They've discovered a problem with it. So this update notice that you've got says they're fixing something about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
The problem is you can still do it.
All right.
Exactly.
So you're speculating that their fix for it is to remove it in the next update?
I have no more of a clue than you do, but that's what they put.
All right.
This is a known issue with this update that's coming.
Okay.
And this is an update to the system, not an update for any, insider or anything.
When you say it's a known issue with this update, you're saying that this is something that this update is addressing, or this is a problem with this update? Because
when they put that there, that means it is a problem with this update.
okay, so that when I hear that phraseology, a problem with this update, that's meaning that this update causes a problem that was
Correct
not
statement.
intended.
Correct.
Oh, so you're saying, oh yes, because when they send out their notices, they have a list of things that this update fixes, and they'll also give a list of issues with this update, meaning problems with this update, problems that it causes.
Since this is not released yet, but this is what the release will be, we will get to test this before we put it on.
Okay.
But this is for our software that has nothing to do with Microsoft. We have manufacturing software that how we pay, talk about $6 a month, we pay a couple hundred user a month. So anyway, we get highlights. There's 3 new programs, which I'm not going to talk about. And then there's a whole, 3 pages of improvements that they have. Some ADO objects for programmers, GLLs that are changed. Policy editors changed. And then there's some updates and improvements. Improvements was the one with the telemetry that I just said. And then there's 3 known issues with this update, and they're all the backup and restore Windows 7.
Okay, I have a question. Why don't they just get rid of that?
I read it to you. I don't know why, but it seems to me that if there's problems with it, and there was not problems last month, and Windows 7 backup and restore has been around since Windows 7.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, I'd say they're trying to do something with it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm literally reading 3 paragraphs.
All right.
But I like to, my only reason I was telling you, I like to tell elementary, we fixed where you screwed it up.
Okay.
That's funny.
All right, let's break and Josh, go ahead.
Now, being that there's a problem with that Windows 7 backup and restore, being that Microsoft didn't support the Windows 10 in 2025, you don't think they're going to update that to, say, Windows 10?
No. In the control panel, there is a backup and restore that is from Windows 7. It has been there forever.
You don't think they're going to update that to, say, Windows 10?
No, they're getting rid of it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it still says Windows 7 because they haven't had any interest in updating it.
In Windows 10, it says Windows 7. That's
yeah, which is really weird. All right, let's go on here because this update has finished, and turn off the picture-in-picture for a moment. So click OK here, and that should get us in. Site can't be reached. Well, it's restarting. Yeah, we saw that before though.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's restarting. Take a look at what Wi-Fi is available. Now this bet's 5G connected up here. That's the Ethernet, so I'm not worried about that. I turned off the auto reconnect for my Wi-Fi. And here it is showing up. Connect to that. And I did turn on the auto reconnect for it. They were connected. We'll try refreshing. There's
I've got a couple of nasty neighbors that name their Wi-Fi as cuss words. So whenever I open up my Wi-Fi list, the first thing I see is the F word.
Oh, joy.
Oh, nice. Nice. I bet you just love that.
No, I don't. My dad asked me one day if there was a way he could change that or turn that off, and it's like, no, you can't unless I can get a hold of their router and change their name.
No.
In Michigan, if you did that, you'd be called trespassing, and that would be a minor felony.
No. There is an option in Windows to hide a network name for whatever weird reason. If you don't like to show a certain Wi-Fi, you can hide it for that machine. So you can hide swear words or curse words.
Would you actually be hiding the name of other SSIDs and then not specific? It's not going to sense what the words are, I imagine.
No, it's just hiding that SSID. So if you find another SSID, which is the same, somewhere
That makes
else would
sense.
hide that.
That makes sense that there'd be a way to do it.
There is a way in control in command prompt or PowerShell or something.
All right.
You actually have to connect it right to it, though. Can't do it over the line.
Well, it's be changing, preventing SSIDs from appearing on your computer. You wouldn't be changing anything about the other.
No, it's your own machine.
Could you point it to us? I'd like to do that too.
Sure, I'll send an article.
Yeah, if you could find something on that, that would be good to have. Let's see if I can.
I did it on Mum's computer because she didn't want to see the school's Wi-Fi. I'm next door to a school. I did that.
Oh, here's a similar thing coming up. I did a ping and the first one failed and then 3 worked. I'm wondering if that's
normal.
That's going to be a way to wake this thing up. Is this screen going to come up now? Yeah, not as fast as it did last time. Oh, it finished trying.
Alex? Professor?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. Well, you know, it sounds like those are the type of people that that I like to mess with. Then you could. Do you have the ability to set up a guest Wi-Fi on your system?
Yes, I do. If I turn the Wi-Fi on my main ISP router.
Okay. Well, if you want to screw them a little bit, you could always put a guest Wi-Fi access and label it U.S. vaccine chip activator. That should screw them a little. That can make them look crazy.
What? Well, I wouldn't want to do it, but I was just. What happens if you set an SSID on your own system that matches theirs?
So this fight for who's closest, who's stronger. Excuse me.
Yeah, that's right.
Like if people,
that's not going to do anything.
That'd make them a little crazy too, but that's another subject.
Yeah, and then you don't want to actually put that on your own system.
Yeah, now you're broadcasting, and little kids could see it.
Right. Yeah, you're an offender now. Jeez, it still has not come back.
How you been, Doug?
Say again?
How you been?
I've been good, Josh. How are you?
Good. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to join today because I had to help out at my homeless ministry.
All right. Well, I was glad that you brought Natasha on and introduced us to her. Oh, there it goes. Just sitting here waiting, talking about Josh's life, and it comes up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's the magic word.
Is it just that processor is that slow? Well, maybe after the firmware update, maybe it takes a long time to process it. Or maybe it's just, maybe it's a cheap router?
That is possible.
Maybe it's cheap for a reason, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
cheerful.
And that's part of the justification for me getting it and testing it. So there we got an error timeout message again. All right, I'm done. We've had enough of this. I've had enough of this, and we've been on long enough. I'll report to you later. Gosh, we're almost 4 hours. Yeah, that's enough. All right, I'm back on the Zoom room showing up. For those of you who are able and willing, I'd like to have you turn your computers on and say goodbye. And this is your last chance.
Bye, everybody.
And if you're not camera on, just give a goodbye.
Bye.
Right.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye,
Good everybody.
Good night, John boy.
John girl.
All right.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for everything.
All right. Very good. Thanks, Jose. All right. Here we go. Clicking in Zoom meeting. 3, 2, 1. Goodbye. And then bring up here again with my email address. Oh, and the camera wobbles when I just touch the desk. Doesn't take much at all. I gotta stop that. I got this microphone better, but still, don't touch the desk, Doug. How do I not touch the desk, Doug? All right. So if you'd like to request a free computer support session with me, I do that over Zoom and connecting remotely to your computer. Love to do that during a live stream, but if you're new to the group, I'll do that with you in a private session, and then upload, make a recording out of it and upload it to my YouTube channel. The way to request a session like that is to send an email, DougBetts@LiveWindowsTraining.com. Am I actually looking down to read that from the screen? I did. And we'll put it together and give me a brief idea of what you want help with. So that's all for today. I hope that's been useful and entertaining or whatever it might be. Have a great day. Catch you later. Goodbye.